He said, hold on for dear life and have fun.
Like I've been reading about, and this is usually during my toilet time, my sneak and teak time.
Jeez. Listening in and is going to get me put on a watch list, I think.
Right.
Can't script a coin toss. You can't script what Patrick Mahomes does once he's outside of the pocket. There's some kids.
Here we go. Hey, hold my beer.
Primal Beef Jerky is a sponsor of the Chubby Buddies podcast, and for being a listener, they are giving you, the listener, a perk. We don't even get any perks. We don't get paid. We don't get none of that. We wouldn't ask for that. We do, however, every once in a while, Bo over at Primal will shoot us out a couple bags of jerky, and if that's all we have. I mean, that's all we could really ask for.
We are taste testers and promoters. We love this jerky. We eat this jerky regularly and want everybody to eat it as well. We want y'all to eat good jerky.
Facts. But this is not a paid sponsorship. This is a shout out to Primal from us with 100% originality as much as we can every time. We re-record these every single week. But being a listener of the Chubby Buddies podcast, Primal is giving you, the listener, a discount of 15% off an order by visiting www.feedonprimal.com. And at checkout, use promo code Chubby, that's CHUBBY. And if you're in one of the 5 states that they sell in, or 400 plus stores across Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri, then you won't need this. But being a listener, you do get a discount. And the math wizard here has done his calculations with, what kind of calculator was that in high school that we used?
I used my brain. Y'all used the Texas Instruments, the 8,000.
Okay, but to check Josh's work, since he didn't like to show his work in high school, and we all know that, we used this calculator.
Boring.
And we came up with that if you hit the $50 cap visiting www.feedonprimal.com and using that 15% off discount of Chubby, that's CHUBBY, you get 1 free bag of beef jerky. And the math guy is never wrong. Are you?
Never.
How wrong have you been in math? Because we need somebody to use as a scapegoat in case it isn't actually 1 free bag.
Oh, it adds up, dude. Yeah, no. 15% discount plus the free shipping altogether adds up and easily covers the cost. Although alone, if we're talking 15%, 15% on 50 almost nets you a free bag alone. But for sure, with the free shipping, it's definitely enough to net you a free bag.
Yep, you heard it here, folks. You heard it here first. The Math Wizard has spoken. But that is www.feedonprimal.com, and at checkout, use promo code. What was that again, Joshua?
Chubby, CHUBBY, Chubby.
Because I got on there in 2011, and it wasn't X; it was Twitter then.
Yeah, it was Twitter, obviously.
X. Yeah, but Twitter, I got on there when I got my first iPhone, and it was the iPhone 4, and I believe that was 2011.
Same. I've been, it says joined in November of 2011.
Yeah, mine was 11 or 12. I'm not 100% sure on the actual time frame, but I really started following The Rock on there, it was shortly after he came back to Monday Night Raw, I do believe. He made his I was watching it live at the prison, and it was he came back on Valentine's Day of 2000 and I think 10 or 11. It was pretty exciting. And that's shortly after that is when I started getting on Twitter, and he had the whole catchphrase "boots to asses" or team. And I mean, he's always had team bring it, but the boots to asses thing, I got a shirt or like a tank top, pretty sweet. But let's start this out. And I'm not trying to take away from you at all. All right.
Wait a second. I gotta
get this off.
Oven on 375. Hang on.
Wife's telling them to do stuff.
Wife asked me to start the oven. All right.
Oh, and a buddy of mine.
Heather's bringing take-home pizza.
Oh.
So,
but before I start this off with a story that happened with me this week, a buddy that I work with, he's actually the counterpart of where I work in my department. he brought me back from Oklahoma the new Mountain Dew hard Mountain Dews.
Yay!
I've tried one of them, and it was the Baja Blast. I'm waiting to save the one that I hope to be the best for last. So here's a kickoff at I'm assuming what would be the original hard Mountain Dew, like if Mountain Dew was just alcohol based.
Yes.
So there's that one, and then they can have a watermelon.
Yes.
And then they have
a cherry.
The Baja Blast, a watermelon, a cherry, which I'm assuming is like Code Red, and then
supposed to be like Code Red.
That's
and
then the Live Wire. Live Wire.
You got a Live
That's the one
Wire?
I'm hoping to be the best. Yeah, I got a variety pack.
Oh, okay. So when I got them, gosh, I want to say in the fall of last year. The only thing I can guess is we happened to roll through a gas station that was a test market because I was the only one who had seen them. But I picked them up. Now,
I've been following since they came out on Instagram.
Huh?
I've been following Hard Mountain Dew since they released in the very first state on Instagram, and I've been waiting. COVID 2020, 2019,
really?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, last year I got some here in Missouri, but I haven't been able to find them since then.
They just started selling in Missouri.
Gas station. Well, we were driving up to Kansas City, and we stopped at a gas station to go to the bathroom. And I walk in, and there's this display of Hard Mountain Dew, and I'm like, Heather, I have to get a case of this. It's so it looks amazing. So, what's your conclusions of what you've tried?
Right. Well, so far I've only tried Baja Blast. That's the only one I've tried. I was waiting for this to try the other three. So I'll tell you about that after I tried this. Baja Blast, the one thing that I get from it is that, one, it's zero sugar. Okay. So right away, I immediately get the taste of a sort of a diet Baja Blast.
Yep. Like an aspartame.
A little bit. And then also another thing is that it's a little flat, which isn't necessarily bad, but it is what it is. Baja Blast isn't my favorite Mountain Dew. My favorite Mountain Dew, however, is the Live Wire. Okay?
I can't wait to try that because that was not in the ones that I got. That wasn't an option.
The Live Wire came out in 2022, I think, and then they started putting it in the variety packs. But what the problem is that Kansas does not sell it yet because they haven't been okay to sell it in the state of Kansas. They sell it right now, I think, in 8 states. Missouri was like the 5th state, I think. So you got it around the same time that it came out. But I think the first state they released it in was Illinois or North Carolina, one of those, and the other parts of the, like, they call it the Midwest. I don't know how they consider Michigan the Midwest.
The Midwest
Kansas,
is basically everything from the Mississippi to the Rockies.
Yeah, and that blows my mind. Like, Oklahoma is not considered the Midwest, but Kansas is.
No, Oklahoma is considered the Midwest. Well, it's called the Mid-South is what it's considered.
Well, but when I hear Midwest, I think immediately of, like, I don't think of Kansas. Like, I think of Michigan, Iowa, places like that. Michigan is the heart of the Midwest,
dude.
Michigan is in the Midwest, technically.
Michigan is in the north.
I promise you. Google it.
No, okay. As far as like locations, Michigan is probably considered the furthest edge of the Midwest. But that's my point.
Right.
Like, to your point,
that's where it starts.
The Midwest is too big of an area. I agree. Michigan is too far north to be considered Midwest.
And I wouldn't disagree with that, but I'm saying, like, when I hear the words Midwest, I don't think of like North Nebraska or North Dakota or South Dakota as part of the Midwest. Do you?
Really?
I don't. I mean, when I think of it, the Midwest for me, like when I think of it, like in my head, just because of like when people talk about it, I think of Illinois, Iowa, Missouri. Missouri is what I would think would be the Midwest, but are they considered the South just like Oklahoma?
No, they'd be Midwest.
Okay. I just wasn't sure. Like, whenever I think of that, I think of everything down.
Square from the panhandle of Texas. I draw it from there up to probably the top of Iowa, and then maybe over to include most of Illinois, and then down to include most of Arkansas. And that's what I
was Kentucky? So is Kentucky
Yeah,
considered
Kentucky,
to be the Midwest?
Tennessee,
Okay.
all that. All
Yeah.
that.
Tennessee. Like when I think of Tennessee, I think of them as being in the South.
No, Tennessee's west, the Midwest.
I know, but when
What?
I see Tennessee in my mind, I think of
No,
that being in the South.
no,
It's right above Alabama.
Tennessee wouldn't be in the Midwest.
It's not?
No.
We need a map.
Kentucky maybe, but Tennessee?
Kentucky, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Michigan.
No, Kentucky and Tennessee are right next to each other, top and bottom. So they would both have to be included. Man, I'm going to look at a map now. You got me.
Well, here, I'm going to test this out. I'm going to test out this what would be the original Mountain Dew as a hard Mountain Dew. So hopefully it's better than the Baja Blast. Very much more like a Mountain Dew. Like,
yeah.
I definitely it's definitely diety Mountain Dew, which isn't bad because one, you're getting alcohol in the first place, so you don't need to add to all those carbs for sure.
Across the board for me, all of those had that flavor because they're all supposed to be like seltzers.
Right.
So they're all supposed to be light. So they all kind of had that diet light flavor. But
well, what I did notice differently about this one versus Baja Blast, when I first took a sip of the Baja Blast, I got a rush of alcohol flavor. Like it was almost like not necessarily a beer, but this is considered a malted beverage, I do believe. Is it not?
Sure. Yeah.
Like I got that like
is it or is it a seltzer?
Well, seltzer is a malted beverage because they can sell it in like Walmart and stuff like that. So that's why I assumed like you don't see very many alcohols in a can that aren't considered malted beverages, at least that I've seen. But this one is definitely more, it leans more towards the Mountain Dew flavor, I guess you could say. So like you get, it really does taste like a Mountain Dew, but with a little hint of alcohol. But that's the original Mountain Dew. Oh, go ahead.
I've made my decision.
In my opinion. Decision?
Yep. Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. Kentucky and
Ohio,
Tennessee.
I do think of.
Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma.
So South Dakota is not in the Midwest.
I'd maybe throw in South Dakota. I don't know though.
That's Dakota your opinion, not like what the actual map would be.
I don't know. I'd be curious to know what's actually considered the Midwest.
They have a separate map that's actually highlighted all of the Midwest. It almost looks like a J going down.
The Midwest. What? That's weird.
It's like 13, 14 states, man. It's a lot. Like I don't think of all of them being.
And you're right. Oklahoma is not considered.
That's what I thought.
I'm looking at the map right now. It's North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio. So it's all basically, the Midwest is basically it should be called the Midwest, Mid-Northwest.
Right. But like when you think of when you hear,
you've got the Pacific Northwest.
Right, and what blows my mind is that how can you put Kansas in a part of the map with Michigan, which is like 18 plus hours away? Like that blows my mind.
Yeah, it should be called like the Mid-North or something like that.
Right. I mean, or have Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and all those states like Central United States. Just call it that.
Yeah, the Central States.
Quit making what it is. So yes, I do enjoy the original, what would be the original Mountain Dew over Baja Blast so far. Baja Blast is now in second place. Which one do you think I should try first? Should I try what I hope to be the best last? Because I'm not a huge watermelon fan, but I have had like good watermelon drinks.
Try the cherry next.
The cherry?
Yes.
Maybe they don't have the cherry. Hold on.
If they scrapped the cherry,
they scrapped the cherry for Livewire.
Okay, so let me just say this: they made the right choice.
Okay. I heard it tastes like cough syrup.
The cherry was supposed to be Code Red. It didn't taste like Code Red. It was disappointing. So,
well, I'm gonna go with watermelon next, ladies and gentlemen. I'm normally not a watermelon guy. Like, it's very watermelon.
I like watermelon. I like Jolly Ranchers, bro. If it's a Jolly Rancher flavor, I'll eat it. I'll drink it.
That's not bad. Like, it's not too watermelon-y.
Yeah, the watermelon's
It's kind
pretty
of
good.
weird.
I want to know about this live wire, though. I cannot
I'll
wait to
finish
try
these, I'm
it.
sure. Like, hopefully I don't get lit up here on our podcast here. All right. So, live wire. Like, this is the one that, like, I love orange soda, but my favorite Mountain Dew by far is
Wait,
live
hang
wire.
on.
What?
Did you say you love orange soda?
I do. Ooh.
Is it true?
I do. Swear to God. Honest tension, man.
Shout
Scout's
out to
on
you, Kel.
it. Ooh. Yeah,
Kel
shout
Mitchell,
out
ladies
Kel.
and gentlemen.
I saw that they were making a part 2 of Good Burger.
Yeah, and it's going to be awesome, and I'm going to watch it, and it's going to be hilarious.
Ooh. Just the smell of this smells like Sunkist.
Oh. I
Dude.
haven't had live wire in forever. I need. How is it? Oh.
Everything you hoped for. It's not. It's like, yes, like we said before, it's supposed to be no sugar.
Yep.
But doesn't taste like fake orange soda. You know what I mean? Like how that.
Good.
I can tell when a diet pop is a diet pop well over regular, and it's disgusting. This is not disgusting whatsoever.
Good.
This could get me in trouble, dude. Whoa. Now, is the live wire pop better? That's the question, and yes, that's 100% factual. Like, this is good for like a refreshing hot day, like we've had this past week. One of the hottest Augusts I think I've ever lived.
Are you comparing the live wire drink with the live wire beer?
No, I'm saying like the refreshing part of things. So like this is supposed to be like
live
drink
wire
cold.
itself is going to be more refreshing. But...
yeah. So my order of operation is live wire 1. Number 2 is the original Mountain Dew flavor. 3 would be the watermelon. 4 would be Baja Blast.
Okay.
I think Baja Blast has almost overshot its course since it strictly used to be at Taco Bell, and now you can get it every summer. I think that's kind of taken away from the nostalgia of it.
No, I think it's been around for so long that because it's niche to Taco Bell, it's kind of, you associate it with Taco Bell. So, and I don't know how it is for you, but for me, Taco Bell has a time and place, and it's not all the time and everywhere like it used to be.
No, I definitely enjoyed it more as a younger individual, but like now it's like, it's good for if you're in a pinch, just like McDonald's is. Like, I'll eat McDonald's if I'm like hungry or if I'm craving like a good French fry.
You ain't
like,
driving there on purpose like we used to.
No, if I have other options,
we'll drive there because you have to, but
or it's open.
Yeah, it's open.
I do like their Mexican pizza. I will give them that. I do like that, even though it's nothing Mexican pizza about it. It's just good. But I'm trying to think of what it is that I normally get there. I do like the Doritos Locos Tacos, but Baja Blast, yes, like you said, it's been around way too long, I think. Come up with something new. So how was your week? I mean, mine's been long, and I'll get into my week after you.
You know, it's been a pretty good week. You know, we're school started here, so that's been the big thing. The school started back up. Yeah, so the routine, you know what I mean? Like, I really it's weird. I'm not organizationally minded, but I really appreciate what routines do. And so I'm grateful when we get back into the rhythm and the routine of school, because it helps regulate my schedule a lot. And I'm grateful for it. So we're back in the routine of things. So that's been...
I never liked waking up early. That was the only part of the routine I didn't like.
Fair enough.
I mean, I think school is good for getting people in a routine for sure, but it wasn't the routine that I wanted. Like, if it was like we said before, later in the day, I think my routine would have been a lot more suited for that, just because of my mental state.
You'd have probably been a great student of school to start it at 10.
Yeah. But all that really does for me is just makes my day go longer because we had football practice and then we had this and then we had that. But I did appreciate I guess the rhythm and flow. You always knew what to expect and nothing ever changed really for school unless of bad weather or really no other reason than weather did that change that I ran into anyway. So I'm gonna start my week off by asking you, what is the craziest thing you have ever done being a grown adult, like spur of the moment thing, like you had it, like you and Heather talked about it, right? Other than adopting kids and also like being parents, right? Like that's pretty bizarre. That's a crazy thing to kind of take in overnight for sure, right?
Sure.
What would be the next thing next for you in line that you have done at the spur of the moment? You didn't really necessarily not talk about it or think about it, but it happened and you're like, oh my God, what did I just do?
So that's honestly pretty easy to call. Uh, Heather and I were not together yet. We were just kind of friends at the time. But I really, really wanted to do something exciting for my 21st birthday. The problem is I was going to a Christian college. So what most people do for their 21st birthday, I had no desire to do. But I still wanted to do something fun and exhilarating. And so a couple of months before my birthday, I'm talking to some friends of mine, and we're in our small group with one of my professors at college. And I'm telling them I want to do something exciting for my birthday. And my friend, who's in my group, says, "Why don't you ride a bull?" And I said, "That would be a blast."
Yeah.
So, as it turns out, that friend happens to be a rodeo clown. And the professor, his kids are competitive bronc riders, like championship bronc riders in the state of Missouri. So every week they're in Aurora, which is a town just down the road from Joplin, doing basically practice of bull riding.
How do you
A
practice
bull
how to
riding
die?
event every week. They've got like rounds to it where just bull after bull is brought in through the chute and a new rider gets on and they go. And so they were like, yeah, we can get you out to one of those and get you on a bull. And so Lucas, the rodeo clown, he gives me all of his gear. So I'm borrowing all of his gear. Doug is the professor. His son, Dougie, he's kind of like my hype man. So Lucas gives me the gear. Dougie's kind of just sitting there next to me, coaching me through it, telling me what to do, telling me, what the rules are about keeping your hand up and stuff like that, and how to be safe, telling me what to do once the bull tosses me, all that stuff, and just kind of talking me through everything, right? About halfway through the shoot, my bull is getting pissed off about something and gets underneath the bull in front of him and flips him over. So, like, my bull is causing trouble in the chutes. And I'm just, like, clueless and unaware because, of course, all I'm thinking is, this is going to be fun. This is going to be, like, a cool story to tell everybody. So, everything gets squared away. They get the bull into the chute. I get up there. Dougie gets me positioned, gets me tied up in the rope. And he looks at me, and before he lowers the mask down on my face, he says, "I'm so grateful that you're an idiot and you have no idea what you're doing." I'm like, "Why?" And he goes, "Because if you even knew for a second what you were doing, you would not have gotten on this bowl." And he said, "Hold on for dear life and have fun." And at that, they released me. And man, okay. So first off, let me tell you, their timer had to have been broken. Let me be clear, okay? Because I was on there for an eternity, okay? This bull, I was on this bull for an eternity. Now, officially, I was on there for 4.1 seconds, but it felt like an eternity. And this bull coming out of the gate, it kicked the first time, and I mean, I went up. It was like hitting a like. There's that hill on like 17th Street out by the hospital. Do you remember?
Oh
If you
yeah.
hit that really fat, it was just like that. You hit that hill, boom. Okay. So first got the air, I landed, got balanced. He kicked again, and I got shifted right. And then he kicked a third time and turned as he did it, and that kind of tossed me over to the side of him, not like all the way over to the side, but like to his outside hip. And then I had no like control over my body weight, and so at that point he kicked again, and I just went flying. Like, I mean, he tossed me. I went easily 10, 12 feet in the air, did kind of a front flip and landed on my right hip.
Do you have video of this?
Back hip area, and kind of rolled forward, popped up. Lucas got between me and the bull, and I kind of hobbled over to the fence, climbed over, got to the ground, and I was survived. I was okay. I didn't get hurt. I couldn't walk right for like 2 weeks, but I totally rode a bull for my 21st birthday and survived.
Do you have video of this?
Okay, so a friend of mine took video of it, but I have no idea where that is. It was on his phone. I don't know that he ever sent it to me, so no, there's no
Probably
video.
taken with like a flip phone or something.
Oh yeah, dude, it was
okay.
that far enough
So
back.
I did not see that like being where you were going to go with this at all, but like that is like the craziest thing. Okay, now granted, you did not have life-altering effects, thank God. Afterwards,
Yeah, I was
like you
not
could
there
have
at the
died.
time, so that's how I got away with it.
Like you could have died for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like that's nothing that I would ever like have to sit there and think about. Like I have a pretty good stern no in life, but I have gone bungee jumping, and that has been like one of those like this I could die. Like, but again, like we could die getting into a car, right?
Yeah.
But where I'm going with this is that my week, right? Jamie and I, as of last week, you and I, when we were recording, it was just her and I under the roof, right? Her and I, the house that you know of being your aunt's old house, just her and I. After that, like literally as we were recording, Jamie was on her way back. We both have had 2 family members who needed to rehome dogs. Okay.
Whoa.
So to make that part of the long story short is that we were no longer dog people, but as of Saturday last week at I think 10 p.m., you and I or her and I were both dog people with dog number 1. Okay.
Whoa.
Less than 24 hours later, we became dog people to 2 dogs. Okay. And I'm gonna use this as a description for kind of to give you a quicker idea of how it is. Like one of these dogs is a 6-month old or 8-month old short-haired cotton ball, right? I don't even know what it is, but it's an expensive dog. Like this is a thoroughbred something, right? It almost looks like it's got like almost like the fur of a poodle, but it's not a poodle.
Okay.
So anyway, that's dog number 1. 24 hours later, we got another dog who is 8 years old. Okay. She is like, she don't have a care in the world. Okay. So to make this easier for listeners and for you to understand, like, here's what I've gone through the past week, right? Saturday night, we had just her and I in here. We have no kids together, but come Sunday, we both had allowed Charlie Sheen and Martha Stewart move into our house. Okay. And not just regular Charlie Sheen. I'm talking Tiger's Blood Charlie Sheen. This dog is on drugs. I swear to God.
This is the
dog
8-month
is
old?
up. Yes, the 8-month old. If Charlie Sheen was 8 months and a puppy, that would be Tiger Blood Charlie Sheen, right? He's up and down, left and right. If you get up, he gets up. If you go to the bathroom, he's going to the bathroom with you. This dog is venturing out to find out. He's only lived 8 months, so he doesn't know much in life. But like, if I was to call this dog something other than what he's called, I would name him Charlie Sheen. And he's always trying to hump. And he's always trying to hump Martha Stewart, right? Or the other dog. Always trying to hump her. But Martha Stewart, she's the calmest dog I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, if I was to tell you to describe this dog as being Martha Stewart, this is if Martha Stewart got into Snoop Dogg's stash. Like, that's how calm this dog is.
So this is Martha post
After prison.
Post prison time.
Yeah. Post prison time. Cool
Chill,
as a
Martha.
cucumber.
Gotcha.
She's literally sitting right next to me, sleeping, right? Like, she does not
Martha
care
with
about
Stewart.
anything in the world.
Gotcha.
Granted, this Martha Stewart does not cook, unfortunately. I have to make her food for her. But that was literally my week in a nutshell. The puppy does not sleep past 6 a.m.
Golly,
My
dude.
alarm goes off my first alarm goes off at 5:45-ish, and he's right there to back it up if I don't get up. He's right there barking. I'm up at 5:50, no later than that.
Oof.
So yeah, that's been my week. Yeah, so we're dog people now.
Wow. That's a huge transition for you, man.
In less than 24 hours.
You
No
haven't had a
kids.
dog since
Molly. And that was 2018 or 19.
Yeah.
We had to put down Dean in the summer of the same year that we put Molly down. And Molly we had to put down the Saturday after Thanksgiving. But to go from 0 dogs to 2 dogs in a matter of 24 hours is the craziest thing I have ever done in my entire life. Like, I will make this statement and stick to it. I think it's easier, and I'm not saying this as a way that to dish parents or anything like that. Okay, so if you were to compare a child or a baby to a dog or a puppy, I would assume that it would be easier to find somebody to watch your child than your dog. Okay, like, how do I explain to if I need somebody to watch my dog? How do I explain to her, like, you got to watch Charlie Sheen? Like, the dog is not going to stop humping you or your leg or your dog's. He's literally going to be Charlie Sheen.
Bro, people are way more gracious with pets than they are babies. Trust me.
I don't
it's
know,
gonna be
man.
easy for you to find pet sitters.
I don't know, man. Like, to explain to somebody, like, this is how my dog. Granted, he hasn't potted in the house once, and that was because he got excited when we were taking care of this older dog who has not pottied, like, in the house at all. So, like, that's the only thing he has going for him. Other than that, he is a crazy 80s Rat Pack type dog. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. He's not, like, he doesn't know his name. Like, that's bizarre to me. 8 months old, you don't know your name? Come on now.
Oh, this is funny.
Put your pants on and get on with the day, man. Come on. And he barks at every little thing.
Yeah.
He hears the wind blowing. Ugh.
Bobby and Jamie have 2 dogs now. Yeah, but Bobby has 2 dogs now.
I had 2 dogs before this, but, like, to go from 0 to 2 is asinine. Don't ever do it. If you're listening and you are contemplating getting a dog, get 2 Martha Stewarts. Don't shoot for gold. Get 2 Martha Stewart type dogs. 8 years old, doesn't have a care in the world, and she appears to be high on marijuana.
You're gonna have to name this episode Charlie Sheen and Martha Stewart, right?
I don't know. We'll see where it goes with this. But to sum up my week, that's literally how it is, and I hope I did I hope I did enough justice for what I've actually been through. I took a 20-minute power nap before I came on here. Went and grabbed something to eat, and then came on. Like, my neck hurts because I was sleeping on a love seat to make it to where a dog didn't wake up and hear me get up. Like, yeah, if this dog hears you get up, he's up. He's done.
Let him be up.
I don't want him because it's constantly, no, don't hump Martha, or don't hump Molly. Her name, I need to really tell you what their names are. His name is Yogi, okay? Crazy name. And the dog that's like Martha Stewart, her name is Lucy.
Lucy?
So I hope I did justice by explaining to you with Hollywood, like, crazy people, to give you an idea of what it's like to have a puppy and a geriatric dog.
That's funny.
So Did you ever finish what you were saying? Because you had said that school started. Now, when you say school started, did your youth group and everything start too, or do you still have a couple weeks for that?
No, I've still got a couple of weeks. We kind of slowly on ramp once school starts. I take a week to train my volunteers, and then we do a week where we do kind of a launch event. Like we're going to do a big blacklight party here at the church, so that's how we're going to kick off our youth group event.
Like a holy rave or something?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Dope.
Jesus-centered
Well,
rave.
I've
We're
been
gonna play
getting.
with blacklight dodgeball and
Oh, that's cool. I have a pretty cool game that I just got. It's called Pop Darts. Have you ever heard of it?
yes, I have
I just got it.
actually.
Yeah,
Did
I
you?
just got
I would
yeah,
play
well,
that.
Jamie is not a competitive person at all whatsoever. So I figured I could start small. This you can play literally sitting down at home, and all you do is you place this like it's almost like cornhole, but
Yeah, I saw it.
no sand. I mean, I just got it in the mail yesterday, so we'll see how it goes. And you can play it literally in a hotel room if you wanted to.
Let me know
So
when you hit your first
pretty.
stacker or whatever it's
Oh
called.
yeah, I think they call them like like something weird, like a weeble wobble or something like that.
Yeah, Wibble Wobble or yeah, I don't know. But let me know when
They
you
have
hit your
their own
first one
name.
because those look cool. Like I've been following them on TikTok. I think I want a set too. It looks fun.
Yeah, I got a pro set, and
This
we got
cool
Yerple,
Pop
and
Tarts is what it's called. It's a little dark green. Um,
it's
they're
cornhole
basically
darts.
little
That's the best way to describe
suction
it.
cup darts. And the goal is to get it to land on a surface, and then you're trying to. It's kind of like bocce ball in that sense.
Yeah, you roll the ball, and
You're
you have
trying to
a
you
target.
get your center spot, and then you're trying to get the closest to it. And you can actually, the way these work, you could actually get them to land on top of each other and stack, and you get a lot of points for that. It looks cool. I want to play it.
You were cutting out, Josh. You were
Oh,
cutting
sorry.
out a little bit, so I'm assuming you were just describing to her like the
I was. Yeah, I was describing
explanation of the
basically.
game. So
And for anybody else that's listening, free promo for Pop Darts. It looks cool.
yeah, I got the pro pack, and it's I got the Yerple and like the blue green color, and they have a different name for it. It's like a tie dye
Bring
type.
it to the November show. We'll play.
For sure. I mean, it's very
Yeah.
easy to. That's another reason why you could take it anywhere with
Portable,
you. It's not like
yeah.
you have to pack anything. But on the side of that, like, not only did I get a game, but like, I've really been digging in. Like, I've been reading about, and this is usually during my toilet time, my sneak and take time. I've been reading like a lot of conspiracy theories, and I only do it just to see how crazy other people are.
Uh-oh.
Like, I'm not saying that none of it's not true or anything like that. But I had a question for you about one of the conspiracies, and I wanted to know how you felt about it more rather than what you think about it. Like, how you actually feel as a person of somebody who appreciates science and space travel and stuff like that. I just
Okay.
wanted to know what your input was, right?
Okay.
Like, when you hear somebody say, like, they didn't believe that the moon landing was real, like, what is the first thought that runs through your head?
The first thing that runs through my head is what it's not here's the thing. I understand the logic behind the conspiracy theory. I do.
Same here.
It's just not reasonable to me.
What's the announcement?
I understand the stubbornness of the American spirit way stronger than I understand the deceitfulness. And here's the thing. I don't think Alexa, stop. Sorry.
For those listening, her name is Alexa, and she's now on the Chubby Buddies podcast.
She's listening in and is going to get me put on a watch list, I think.
Right?
I don't know.
We're talking about the people that don't believe in the moon landing.
No, but like I understand the logic behind it because it was a race. It is a power move. It is us showing that we are technologically superior to the Russians. So we did have motivation to do it. But here's the thing. I understand the drive of the American spirit, the ingenuity, and the brilliant freaking minds. Like, if you took a half second to understand how brilliant the people are that are on staff at NASA, Like the calculations alone, like to me, what blows me away is that people don't understand that what we accomplished with the moon landing is so much of a testament to the human spirit, but specifically to the American spirit of innovation. The technology on your phone far surpasses the technology used to land on the moon. Like,
Okay, and
not even close.
so I guess to really kind of counter that, and I'm not trying to debate with you because I believe we landed on the moon, right? I've got no reason not to believe it. I've got more reason not to believe it than to believe that the moon landing didn't happen, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
So, like, everything that you run into, like, say that you were to just Google it, you're going to run into so many things. One of those
Sure,
things
you run
being
into the flag, you run into the gravity, you run into all sorts of stuff.
Right.
Atmosphere questions.
Yep. And then you run into what I assume to be a very aged astronaut who landed on the moon. And we both know who I'm talking about. Like, this guy is fairly old, but you see a video of him saying that it never happened. Like, you literally, I mean, granted, it could have been like video edited or whatever. Now, I don't know whether or not this was recorded and if it was true, but I saw 7 videos of him saying, well, I'll tell you why we've never been back, because we never went in the first place. It was all staged. Like, this was literally him saying it. Now, I don't know if this was at all edited or anything like that. I didn't do that much deep of a dive. But one of the questions that came across is, why haven't we ever been back? Like, how would you justify that? Would it be money? Would it be
that's an
like
easy
we
statement.
won? Like, we won
Yeah.
the race, so why?
Yes. It was about showing superiority, and we did it. There wasn't a need to go beyond that. And they
But
couldn't
we had plans
justify
to actually
it.
go again.
Specifically, here's what I'll tell you. What the reason why is because we had so many failures post the moon landing. Specifically, with all the failures that we had, the biggest ones obviously would be the Columbia
Apollo 13.
and the come on, really?
Oh, the
Help me out.
Columbia, and it starts with
And
an I. The other one starts with an I.
No.
The one that blew up?
Yes, both of them.
I thought one was Columbia, the other one started with an I.
No, it didn't start with
The
an I.
Independence?
Didn't start with an I. Hang on.
Challenger.
Challenger, yep.
That's what it is. Okay.
The Challenger mission.
I beat the nerd.
I brain fogged, man. Don't judge me.
I don't judge.
All right.
But yeah, that's the number one question.
That to me is the answer. And the truth is, in hindsight, it wasn't a bad thing. Because let me be clear. Those accidents were a bad thing. It's heartbreaking. But the failures and the fact that NASA lost a lot of its funding ended up not being a bad thing. Because out of that, you had the creation of SpaceX, Blue Origin, and you have the commercialization of space travel. And so what you really had is the next step of space travel. Because truly, what reason does the government have for space exploration?
Oh, well, I guess that ties into the other conspiracy that I was reading about. And this is, I think, probably more of the least possible, like, I would say least possible of the conspiracies. Like, I think it's least likely that this conspiracy is true than any of them that has to do with space. And that would be that our government is controlling the weather, and they use what they call as HARP. I think
Cloud
it's like
City.
HAA. Yeah. And they have a satellite on one of Mars's moons or something like that. And our Doppler radar systems are the actual mother or like the hubs of where we would send this code to that satellite, and it would push a storm away or bring one in or whatever. That's another one that I guess that would be the one to justify that question if somebody wanted to throw one at your way. I'm not doing that, but that's
If
another one
we're
I read about.
talking control of our own planet, then sure, you've got justification, but that doesn't justify space travel.
Right.
And that's kind of my point. Government really doesn't have a justification for space travel. Commercial does. Tourism, resource management, research, all of those things are driven not by government, but by commercial properties.
Yeah.
So the creation
Most
of
recent
SpaceX
SpaceX.
and, I was going to say,
Bezos'
creation of SpaceX,
space.
Blue Origin, things like that, ultimately expand space travel. And because of that, ultimately, we ended up getting the Space Force, and NASA got more of its funding back, and now we've got the James Webb telescope that's giving us all sorts of great data and pictures and good content.
I mean that large camera scares the hell out of me only because I've seen Armageddon and like I don't want to know when the end is coming. Like I don't want to know this, and I think that that's going to take really like honestly, it's going to take too good of a picture to let me know what's going to kill me. Like that's like the most bizarre camera I've ever seen for it. Like that's literally the most techiest of tech in the world. Like it's like how have we not like if aliens were real, how has that camera not found it? That's a good one. Unless they're
So,
here, like we've said before.
speaking of not seeing it coming, we almost got hit by an asteroid yesterday.
I saw that. I saw that in a like I've said before, I don't click on clickbait. I try not to, so I don't know whether or not it's true or like just like sports news and stuff.
Sure.
Every time I click on it, I become disappointed because it's not actually what it means.
There's
so
so much
I don't
bait
want to
out
click
there.
on it. Right. So like when somebody say we almost got hit, it's like, okay, how did we almost get hit and not get hit? Like they're not going to go into that much detail. Like I'd rather know how we almost didn't get hit versus how we almost got hit.
Well, we almost got hit, and we didn't see it coming because it was coming from the direction of the sun.
Ooh. Turn that flash off, man.
It whizzed past our hair, and we were like, huh? What was that?
Aliens are throwing rocks, man.
Bro, it's getting spicy around here. Oh, shit.
Well, I will tell you this, like how you said it's for commercial travel and like I guess like pretty much for sightseeing almost now. I'm going to choose your bull riding over going to space any day of the week. I'm just saying. Like I would much rather die here on Earth knowing that I stayed on Earth and I didn't pay like that submarine. Like that's one of those types of trips that I'm not willing to make to risk my life.
I'd rather go into space than I would a submarine.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that is space. It's space on Earth, right there. Like that's
Not the same.
the scare.
No.
I think the ocean is the scariest thing on the planet. Like nothing comes close.
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
There's
Nothing is
there's
scarier
literal
than the
monsters down there, and you can't. And we don't know. I think we've barely seen 40% of the ocean, if that. I mean, space. Granted, like we can only see so much of that, but like that's a little like there's not monsters out there that we've ever seen. We've seen the monsters in the ocean.
You want me to mess with you, Bobby? One of the things that I love with the James Webb, they just took a picture at what's the best way to describe it? At what they believe is the center of the universe, or at least in the distance of where they could measure what they believe is to be the origins of the universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
They take a picture into this space, and do you know what they find?
A black hole.
No.
Worse?
What they find galaxies and stars that shouldn't exist there. They find things that are thousands of years old that shouldn't exist in that space. So
See,
it's
that
totally
right there
messing
just
up
goes to
all
prove
understanding of what?
Right. But I mean, that right there just shows me that there's just that much more evidence. There's a possibility that there's other life forms outside of us.
Oh,
like
yeah,
100%.
absolutely. Absolutely. But it says to me that, like, we are fooling ourselves if we think we really understand how we got here and Like, I love science and I believe wholeheartedly in it, but you cannot put all of your stock in that we are millions of years old. Sorry, the data. I'm not saying I believe in a young Earth theory, but I'm saying like the concept that we're created out of nothing makes zero sense to me. Like,
well, really, there's no good, like, everything that we hear is just an opinion, and it's just a possibility. Like, there's a possibility for anything. Like, that's all
the logic and the
all the data
science
shows.
The logic and the science of it indicates more design than it does accidental chance. That's the point. Like, you don't look at an iPhone and think, wow, how did that randomly grow here after 1,000 years? You think, who made this?
Right. And the one person that I guess I've listened to that, like, he doesn't say that anything's not true, but he also doesn't say that this isn't possible. He just gives you an idea. But the only person that I've really ever listened to and went, like, I like his input on this and his, I guess, reasoning to believe this is possible would be, I think his name is something Carlson, and I guess he talks highly on the driest impact theory. Are you familiar with who I'm talking about?
Not.
Brad is first name. It's Randall Carlson, maybe. Do you know anything about the driest impact theory?
Mm-mm.
Nothing at all? Wow.
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up.
Let me see what his name is. I think it's Randall Carlson.
Would you go away, guys?
But, I mean...
Dogs.
Oh. Home of the master builder, bringing the gap between archaic systems of knowledge and modern science. Cosmographia, podcasts, sacred geometry. Like, he's just fun to listen to. And his name is Randall Carlson. I mean, I'm not saying that what he's saying is true. It's fun to listen to somebody who says that there's so many possibilities and he's not counting any of them out. Because he said that there's no way for us to actually know unless we were here when it all happened. Like, I would say that, is there a possibility for God? 100%. Is there a possibility for this? Yeah, sure. But, like, he doesn't count anything out. And that's what I appreciate, is that he's not putting any other part of science down. Because you have those people that are like, oh, that person's dumb because there's not enough evidence for this and that. Like, I don't appreciate that, only because, like, it's not letting that opinion, I guess, surface to let people question it.
Yeah, you're going to find that everywhere, though, man. Like,
right.
There's logical fallacies and arguments that need to be called out. And we live in a culture and a time where you can't call people dumb. And that really doesn't make sense, because some ideas are dumb and need to be challenged.
Right.
And we can't have a culture that doesn't allow that stuff to be challenged. So...
And it's not that it shouldn't be challenged. I just don't think that it shouldn't not be heard. Like, some of the people that you hear on there saying, oh, he's not worth the, like, let some people hear it and let them choose, like, whether or not it's fake or whether or not it's factual or not. Like, just let it at least be heard. I mean, at least it was a thought. At least they're thinking outside the box, whether or not it's true or not. At least they're, like, kind of, I mean, like we said, we're not curious enough, like in the last episode.
That line of logic doesn't work, though, Bobby. Like, you can't justify just because they're thinking outside of the box that it's okay, man. Like,
no, I'm saying, like, just thinking in general, being curious about something, like, let their curiosity come to surface and, like, let them think it out, and then let somebody else try to debate.
I mean, I don't think you would say that about a kid wanting to find out different ways to torture animals. Like, you wouldn't tell them, hey, let your curiosity flow.
Well, come on, so now. That's my point. Let's just stick with the science here. Let's stick with science here.
Well, but my point being is there's a limit to this stuff. And culturally, we live in a time where we're very accommodating.
Right, and like what you have said, though, like, the stuff that's asinine and shouldn't really necessarily be heard gets challenged usually right away, to where, like, you and I probably wouldn't even hear about that theory. And that's fine. But I'm saying, like, the ones that we've heard of and the ones that we can actually kind of relate back to are the ones that, like, actually have enough evidence to justify saying, hey, this is possibly a route that we could take a look at it. And that's the only thing that's really gotten me into science is one, Neil deGrasse Tyson and just those other people that have different thoughts about, like, the way that either, like, the pyramids were built and
Oh yeah, dude.
how space is never going to be figured out. Like, we're much older than we could ever imagine. It's just bizarre, like how like one thought obviously isn't enough because that right there isn't good enough for even a scientist needs more than one thought to go off of
Oh sure.
just to start from it. So I don't know. I got into this conspiracy thing and I was reading a bunch of stuff. I probably shouldn't do it, but it's fun. Makes the time pass. That's for sure.
It's funny you say that.
What's
'cause
your
I watched,
favorite conspiracy theory?
My favorite conspiracy theory?
So not
Oh,
okay,
wow.
not necessarily favorite conspiracy. What's your favorite one to find new information about and like other, I guess, possibilities to either support or debunk this conspiracy? Kind of like how everybody thinks that Kennedy is like one of the most it's one of the most twisted for sure.
Probably the Mandela effect, just because I've got enough personal experiences with it that I'm like, I swear there's something to this.
Now, would that be considered a conspiracy, or is that an actual like scientific effect that they've actually classified,
Well,
like put in a book?
it's argued. Here's the conspiracy element. The conspiracy is that that it was actually this way, and that people have gone back and edited it, and are now trying to convince people that it was never that way. So, great example for me. I swear it was the Berenstain Bears. This
The what?
The Berenstain Bears.
And what's
Because
what's the actual? I guess I haven't followed any of the Mandela effect at all.
Okay, so the Mandela effect is essentially this. Nelson Mandela was a leader. God, I'm going to butcher this. He was a leader, South Africa, I think, maybe.
South
butchering
Africa.
this, I'm sorry.
Because that was the soccer.
But he was a political.
The year that he became,
political leader who was in prison, and who was released from prison and eventually became leader of his country. At some point, when he became leader of the country, people freaked out because they were like, wait a minute, I thought Nelson Mandela died while he was in prison. And so there was a whole group of people that were under the impression that Nelson Mandela was dead and gone. So the Mandela effect is this like massive group,
like your brain is playing tricks on you, like making you think
hypnosis
something,
or misunderstanding or whatever it is, and it's that groups of people say, no, we were sure it was this, and like are all in agreement about it. So the Bears one that I was referring to, children's book, little kids book that we all read,
right,
about the family of bears.
Okay.
I vividly remember the last letters being STEIN because it reminded me a lot of Albert Einstein. And so I always pronounced it Berenstain.
But it's the Berenstain Bears?
Yeah, but apparently it's the Berenstain, STAIN.
Huh.
So
I mean, I remember there being books, but they also had like a cartoon type thing or like a animated cartoon.
Yeah, a little like PBS
now, I don't
show.
remember.
Yep.
I can't say that I remember like which one or the other is the way to pronounce it, but like I could see like how it could definitely be mixed up. Kind of like how the Monopoly guy did. The Monopoly guy ever have a monocle?
Did he have a monocle? Yeah.
And he didn't, but people believed he did. But I mean,
yeah, people swear.
You could definitely see why people would think he would. Hey, I mean, the Mandela effect to me, like, I think that, like, I mean, when I hear that, like, because I've heard tons of people talk about it, when I think of it almost being like Murphy's Law or something like that. Like, what can go wrong or what can happen will happen. Like, a lot of people mix that up with, like, what a lot of people say, what's the what is the biggest way that people have like defined Murphy's Law? They always say it's what can go
Murphy's
wrong
Law
will
is
go
what
wrong, and
can
that's
go
not the
wrong will
actual.
go wrong.
I thought Murphy's Law was what can happen will happen,
No,
and people
what
mix
can
it
go
up because.
wrong will go wrong is Murphy's Law.
So what did they say in Interstellar? Like he said that it's not what can go wrong; it's just what can happen will happen, and that's why he named his daughter Murph. And that's what he said in the movie. Like he said, it's not what can go wrong will go wrong; it's what can happen will happen.
Is it? No.
That's what Interstellar. Granted, that could be the Hollywood thing doing that because of it being a
Yeah, no,
movie.
Murphy's
But
Law
like
is anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
But if you
And at
watch
the worst
Interstellar,
possible time.
but in Interstellar, he kind of redefines it as is what can happen will happen. Is
Sure
why
he
he tells
does.
his daughter.
That's
So I just
because
didn't know if that was actually.
Matthew
I didn't know if
McConaughey
that was
believes he
actually.
can just change words around because he's
And
cool
that's
like
fine.
that.
But like, I just
All
didn't know if that
right.
was actually what Murphy's Law was. But when I hear the Mandela effect, I think of it as being something like Murphy's Law, like it's something in a book that you can read about, and it's actually justified to be considered like a part of science, like why we think the way we do.
I would be curious to know what the scientific, like, what the psychological reason is for it, because I'm sure there's a psychological reason for it.
Well, I think it's. I mean, if you think about it, like the longer we go on being alive, and like we see more stuff on TV or on our phones or on video games or in movies and stuff like that, like it's all it's doing is giving us information into our brains. And us being human, we can only hold so much information, so we have to pull some of that information out to make room for this new information. So I wonder if, like, somewhere along the line, we're almost like playing like deja vu with ourselves. Like, oh, that sounds very familiar. I wonder if it is that. Like, it's almost
Could
like a
be.
deja vu type thing. But I don't know. I always thought that the conspiracy theory was always fun to read about. But I would say that my favorite one to read about and like kind of like go against like what a lot of people say is, I don't know, people consider it to be I'm a conspiracy theorist, and that's not it. I just think it's fun to read about how like terrible our government is. Like the MK Ultra thing, like blows my
Oh,
mind.
dude, that's not even, bro. I'm not even certain that that's conspiracy theory at this point.
Well,
I
like
think
no,
that's
I'm
just
saying what's
recognizing the nature of your government.
right, and I'm saying MK Ultra. Like now, I'm not that itself is not a conspiracy. It's the stories around it that came out of MK Ultra, like the Manson family. That's crazy.
Not just Manson, freaking
Right.
the
Our
Oklahoma City
army, our
bomber.
military.
The
Yes.
Oklahoma City bomber was part of MK Ultra.
No, not Oklahoma City. He was the Unabomber. The Unabomber was a part of MK
Yeah, the
Ultra.
Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski. Not yeah.
Yeah. No, now it's not the MK Ultra that's the conspiracy. It's the stories around it that people who were a part of it that we found out later down the road who were a part of it. Like that's what I find interesting.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what's crazy though. It's like all the stories
Yeah.
coming out of that. Like, how much of that do you believe is conspiracy? How much do you think's real?
And that's why I enjoy reading about it. Not because I'm a conspiracy theorist, but because the possibilities are endless when it comes to not only our government but any nation's government. Like what they have control of is what really kind of blows my mind. Like we as the United States say that our government works for us, but do they?
Yeah.
I mean, come on now.
It's a
But
fair question.
MK Ultra is just like when I first heard about it was in college, but I had no idea that the man, like, have you ever heard of the book called Chaos? It's about a guy that goes into the like how deep he can go into like the studies of MK Ultra and also the Manson family. It's literally
Okay.
how the Manson. Oh man, it's creepy. I read half the book and I took it back to the library just because at that time I had a library card. I just haven't bought it yet. But I read half of the book and it is intense, dude. This guy took.
Sure.
They wanted him to finish it in 5 years and it took him almost 20 to finish it. It's
Crazy.
pretty good read if you ever get a chance. So I just wanted to know your thoughts on conspiracy. I just didn't know if you ever fed into them or if you went down
Well,
like a
you remember
rabbit
Dad's
hole.
like a conspiracy nut. Like he loves all the conspiracies. So I was always kind of
Oh, I love it.
anti-conspiracy. As
So
I've
you got
gotten
older, huh?
I think that's just my naivety that wants to believe there's not conspiracies. I think it's a little bit more.
How do you feel about JFK? Like, now versus when we learned about it?
I
Like, do
don't
you have any
think
different feelings or thoughts, like, or
I've
after you
been
saw the
down
movie?
there, dude. I've seen like we've been down there. We've seen the space. It doesn't like there's nothing about that story that makes sense that it was a single shooter.
Right, and that's where like the MK Ultra ties into it, is that they were trying to say that Lee Harvey Oswald was a part of the MK Ultra set. Like
Might
that
have
was
been.
another like one of those. I was like, what?
Might have been,
I don't
dude.
know. I just like doing it makes me feel like I'm a part of National Treasure, and Nicolas Cage is like my like I'm
Yeah.
like backing him up, and I'm like I dig the movie National Treasure. For me was such a, they could have gone to the ends of the world with how many of those like episodes they could have done.
Did you
Part 1,
watch
2, 3,
the
4, and 5.
Did you watch
The
the TV
series, I've not
series
watched
that
the
came to
series yet.
Netflix or Disney Plus?
No, you told me about it, and then I just haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet.
It's okay. I haven't watched it either. It doesn't. I mean, it's got the young guy, Nick. Was that his name? No, what was the young guy's name?
The one from Hangover. The one from Hangover.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know his name.
it's got him in it, but I don't think it has Nick Cage or the girl. So,
And that's fine. I mean, I enjoyed the movies for what they were. You can only enjoy something
absolutely.
for what they are. Like just to get your imagination sparked with something, like the possibility, is what I really enjoy
It's
about it.
fun, man. Everybody needs a good
Oh, yeah.
adventure. Everybody like, and the notion of digging through American history and there being a secret treasure there, like that's a cool idea. It's a fun
for
idea.
sure. Would I waste money to go venture it out? Probably not.
Hey, no, I got one more conspiracy theory, and it's
Go ahead.
I don't
Hey,
even know that
we've
it's a
got plenty.
conspiracy theory, but like it's the theory that ancient ancient civilizations had technology that we don't even realize they had access to. I'm on board with that one.
I would argue that it can't.
I think
okay,
ancient.
I wouldn't say that.
I think ancient civilizations had access to electricity.
100%. I mean, they've got proof of it. I've been
Batteries
watching ancient. I think it was called Ancient Aliens. Like,
Yep.
I've been watching that documentary on Netflix. Like, there's nothing to show that they didn't have technology. Like you said, they have those batteries that were made out of like mason jar type things,
jars and stuff like that had metal cores and things like that.
Indians who came out well after these people had technology. Now, whether or not it was,
when you say Indians,
No,
are you
I'm-
referring to Native Americans?
Native Americans. I'm sorry, not Indians. Not thank you. Come again, Indians. I'm
not
saying
people
like,
from India, but
yes, people from the
America.
plains of the United States. They had technology. Now, whether or not that technology was anything that we would use today, probably not. But
Well,
for
and
what
of course,
they were
when we say
capable of doing,
technology, we're not saying electronics. We're saying
right?
assistive devices that enable work to become easier, like technology.
Right. Or life in general to be easier. So that could be tools. That could be, I mean, eating utensils. That could be anything.
Any
I
of
mean,
that is all
anything
technology.
anything that is invented is technology.
Anything
So I wouldn't.
designed to change life's structure and format.
100%. I 100% believe that to be true. I believe that just enough evidence, and the evidence for me is the pyramids. That right there tells me we had so much technology back then that you can't deny it at all.
What's
in my
crazy
opinion.
though is realistically the only possible way is just massive amounts of slave labor.
Right.
It's the only
you
way
have
they could accomplish so much in so little of time.
And
to
look how many
build the
people
massive
Genghis
structures and
Khan
all that
killed.
stuff.
Like Genghis Khan had his. They said at one time he's killed the most. I don't know if they say it was all tied to him, but they say during his time he killed enough people to change the footprint of today's society, just because of the amount of people that he enslaved, killed just because, or whatever. Like, slave labor has been around since day one, man. Like, it's a sad but true fact. Like,
Reality of human
you can't
nature.
get by it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to say that technology is like they didn't have it, like that's almost calling yourself. It's taking way too much credit for ourselves. Like
Yeah, it's giving
we're not
ourselves
dumb
way too much credit as like a current
as a human
generation.
society. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, all that is just it's gloating for no reason. Because what if you and I could not build the pyramids with the technology we have today?
No, we stand on the shoulders of thousands of years of generations.
Yeah,
Like,
like there's no like I give every bit of credit for those people that were around during that time because we wouldn't have the cell phone if those people weren't around.
I have ancestors who knew how to harvest. I don't know how to harvest, but my
Hell no.
ancestors
I
clearly
don't
did.
want to harvest either. I mean, you got people out in a field using like mules and stuff to harvest, and now you got big ass tractors. Do you know why you have those big ass tractors? Because they were tired of using mules, bro.
Exactly. Mules
But no,
get hurt and get limped,
yeah,
lame,
and they
die, get
die. You
sick.
have to get new ones.
Yeah. Tractor, you just
Yeah.
replace its part and it's up and running again.
I could have my own podcast just to like sit here and like talk about conspiracies and like how I like the only conspiracy that kind of blows my mind that like people they don't just throw it out there but they kind of like say it loosely and it's kind of like you have enough people on this earth that can say that this is not possible, and that is flat earthers, right?
Oh, yes.
How many pilots do you know, Josh? I know 2 in particular.
I personally know 3 people that have their pilot's license. Better yet,
There you go.
you yourself can go do the math, man. They've been able to do this math for so long to calculate that the Earth is round. Like, it's not hard.
But
Man,
not only
like-
is that a conspiracy, you have conspiracies based on that we live in this globe. It's bizarre, man. And I'm not throwing them under the bus. It's okay. If this is their national treasure to believe that, then that's fine. Totally go for it. Shoot for it. But I think enough is enough when it comes to like is there justifications for believing it? Sure, but there's just as much, if not way more, to justify that it's round, bro.
So one of the
pilot's
one of the earliest proofs for it is a mathematician who recognized at a certain point of the year that the sun was perfectly overhead of his well, and cast all the way straight down, no shadow, right? And so what he did is he arranged for his friend who lived like 100 miles away to measure on the exact same day the sun's angle and the shadow that it casts, so that he could calculate based off of what his was doing and what the shadow was doing in his place. He could calculate over 100 miles what the curvature of the Earth was based off of how the shadow cast in his place versus how it cast 100 miles down
just
the
off
road.
100 miles. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's because the math it all adds up. I mean, a circle is a perfect circle. So you measure out a fraction of it, you can get that measurement and then go all the way around.
Right. Because when you think about it, 100 miles for our Earth is not anything. It's
No, because what is it?
on the map, it's literally the size of a cuticle. Like if that, like 100 miles is nothing. So like to be able to do the math for that, like math has to be perfect.
Yeah, Earth is 7,926 miles across. That's its diameter.
Well, is that? Yeah, okay. I was like,
that's its diameter. Almost
across,
8,000
you might
miles.
get the flat earthers. The flat
So
earthers are coming after you. Like, see, you said
100
across.
miles is nothing. But
Right.
just with a measurement of 100 miles, you can calculate the curvature of the Earth based on the shadow that's cast.
Based on geometry.
Yep. Good old math.
Ugh. But I mean, that's the conspiracy that I'm like, come on, man. If you don't know a pilot, or if you've never flown in a plane, or if you don't know anything about gravity, like
A lot
just
of
in
this is
itself,
just people
like
that don't embrace math. That's all there is to it.
I don't embrace math, and I still believe the Earth is round, bro. I mean, like there's not enough. I see why people would go down that road, because we still have people going down the road of like other conspiracies that really hold no weight. But I mean, If like I said, if flat Earth is their national treasure, like feeling in their brain, by all means, go have at it.
No.
I'm
No.
I'm
And
not going to
this
make
is where
anybody
I
change
will
their
argue
mind.
that point because it's not
I'm not going to
innocent.
change
It's
anybody's
not
mind.
harmless. It's not
I'm
harmless.
not saying that it's not harmless. I didn't say that it wasn't harmless. I'm saying if they want to believe that, but not pressure, like don't pressure somebody else to believe that, because you're getting into I guess, in the
How do you
realm of
not,
like,
though? If you
what?
believe that, how could you go around not pressuring other people to believe it too? That's the
Well,
problem.
kind of like this. I'm not. If I know somebody's a flat earther, I'm not going to bring it up. I don't want to hear it.
Well, sure,
just saying.
that's because you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to hear the nonsense.
But that's my point. One thing reasoning is that I don't have enough vocabulary to almost give you all the reasons of why the Earth is round. Not only do I not have the vocabulary, I don't have the mathematic knowledge to tell you why.
Yeah.
I just know. I mean, I know pilots, like you and I've said. Like I know
You're
a
like,
pilot.
I'm not gonna win this debate because I don't prep like you do.
Right.
And I have no desire to be in that debate.
Right. This is not an NFL stat. This is, I mean, you can Google an NFL stat. Like if you Google whether Earth is round or flat, like I wonder how many answers you end up getting. Because Google
Funny thing about that is, man, like we've got pictures, we've got evidence.
We've been to space.
It's not enough.
I guess. Twilight Zone, man. That's what it is. Did you have any more conspiracy theories, or you want to talk about sports? I'm sure there's conspiracy theories in sports, kind of like how the NFL is rigged.
The script, bro. That's been a funny thing. I really like.
I enjoy it. That's a fun conspiracy.
Man, the conspiracy theory that wrestling's fake, that one's got me laughing. Y'all, September 23rd, you don't want to miss it. Heartland Championship Wrestling, HCW, is traveling to the air capital of the world. That is Wichita, Kansas. And they are putting on a main event called the Air Capital Brawl at the Osage Recreation Center. Man, it's going to be a blast. It is their first show in Wichita, I believe. Doors are going to open at 5. That bell rings at 6. Dude, get out of my face. I'll put you in the squared circle, and you and I go toe to toe. All right. Anyways, the Air Capital Brawl, Osage Rec Center. Doors are going to open at 5. Bell rings at 6. General admission is $12. Premium admission is going to be $15. And then for $35, you can do VIP. Now, VIP is going to be the best you can get you front row seats, get you in the door early, get you first to the gear, first to meet wrestlers, all that cool stuff. So VIP is the way to go. Be sure to follow HCW on Facebook for upcoming match announcements, future shows, and honestly, a heck of a fan base, y'all. It's easily one of the fastest growing. They do a lot of special announcements. HCW, they jump on with the I-70 Hot Tag. That's another podcast that they're on regularly talking about wrestling. So make sure you follow them on socials and make sure you check out the Air Capital Brawl on September 23rd. So there you go.
And for the listeners that aren't from Kansas, if you're from Texas, we've got a few listeners out of Texas that I know of, some out of Iowa. If you don't know anything about the town of Wichita, Kansas, that is not only where the Air Capital Brawl is going to take place, but it is also the air capital of the world. So I'm assuming that's because like almost every intersecting flight, I think it has something to do with flights and stuff like that, and also the military bases that come out of there. So
Air Force bases there. Boeing.
You have Boeing
is based out of there.
Is Boeing? I don't think Boeing's out of there no more. They're out of Seattle, I do believe now, because they sold out. So it's Cessna is out of there, or no, Cessna, right?
Still in Wichita, bro.
Cessna is the one that is based out of Seattle now, I think. One of those two. But anyway, the name ties in pretty well with where they're located, and yes, I do believe they are there. It is their first show in Wichita. But it's also their first show within an hour driving distance of where they're centrally located out of Hutch. So that is cool. So, but don't be late. Like he said, check out their Facebook. It is from what I can see, sitting on the other side of a screen or a keyboard, it is one of the largest fasting Facebook pages that I've ever seen, personally. That I
It's a
started
blast
following
too.
for a
There's
lot
so
of
much
people.
smoke on there.
They also have another page, I think, attached to it called the HCW Locker Room, the Wrestlers Locker Room. I wonder if that's like more one-on-one information with individual wrestlers. I just started following that, so I'll see what it's all about. So maybe next week I'll be able to give you some more information.
Be nice. The November one.
Oh. What I was going to tell you is the match that I think that I'm excited to see, or not necessarily even a match, not even the match. It's, I guess, the person. I'm excited to see what Red James does at the show since he's going to be there.
Oh, that's right. He's finally getting booked, isn't he?
From what I've been reading,
I would laugh my butt off if Red James goes in there and takes up like 5 minutes of their time and just runs his mouth. Like Billy finally booked him. Red should go in there and just run his mouth. Just totally tick Billy off. Like do the old CM Punk to McMahon move.
Or that.
Yeah. Hilarious.
I'm excited to see what comes of that, only because of how Billy was introduced to Red James, and then also how Red James went about to get introduced to Billy. It's very fascinating to see. Like how he said, "Hey, why aren't you booking me?" And he said, "Well, this is why I'm not booking, because I haven't ever heard your name." Like he was saying that he hasn't heard enough about him yet. That's pretty much how he made it sound. And then he's like, "All right, I'll tell you what. If 10 people tell me to book you, I'll book you." So I think it calls for an exciting show, to be honest.
It'll be cool.
But that is HCW. Go check them out on Facebook, Instagram. Not 100% sure if they're on Twitch, but I do believe they're on Twitter, or X is what it's called now. Do you have X?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure. I mean, I get on there time to time just to look up different things, so I wasn't sure if everybody still had it or not. But Hulk Hogan says it best. Hulk Hogan has always said it best, and I mean, I've watched a few interviews with him. I've watched podcasts. He said, up into the decision to have the match and to the decision of the match, everything in between is the realest thing between you and, he said, I think it's the realest thing between
real
Adam and Eve.
Athletics, it's real contact. It's not full contact, but it is real contact.
It is the hardest form of entertainment in the world, I would think.
I say it's not real contact, but man, you see receipts being given, and you know there is some real contact happening.
I've been hit in the chest.
Pops off. I watched a video the other day of the Royal Rumble where, gosh, who was it? Somebody was just getting worked over with flare chops. It was like Hardcore Holly and a couple other dudes was just working this kid.
They don't call them flare chops for no reason.
It was the kid who won Tough Enough and didn't stay in WWE for very long. Daniel something, I think.
Oh, Daniel Bryan?
No, not Daniel Bryan.
I was going to say, I didn't think he was in Tough Enough, but that's the only Daniel I know.
No, this was a young guy. He was in Tough Enough, but he had an attitude, and he didn't last long in the WWE.
Oh, he didn't. Okay, when you said he was in the, I thought you were saying he was still in the WWE.
No, he didn't last long.
Like, there's so many. Like, I wonder if they have a book on conspiracy of sports. Like, that would be fun to read. Like, NFL's number one conspiracy is that the NFL has a script. Which, is it possible? Of course, it's possible. Well, I'm not saying that it's not. I will never deny that it's not.
Here's
never
the thing.
will I deny that.
There's so many variables.
No, okay. Now the script thing, I'm not saying that it's not.
It's one thing to say a game's influenced.
Yes, that's where I was going to go with this.
Yeah.
Okay. Influenced, 100% possible. Scripted, not possible because of, from the get-go, the coin toss. That right there, you can't script that, like, unless you know, like, which way the coin's being tossed. Like, can you script a coin toss? I don't think you can.
Can't script a coin toss. You can't script what Patrick Mahomes does once he's outside of the pocket. There's just some things you can't script.
What Tom Brady did in his career. Like no other
No,
quarterback.
I think a decent amount of that was scripted. Somebody wrote a note that said, Tom, take the air out of the footballs.
But like you said, influenced. Did he do shady things? Of course. Of course. He did shady stuff. But did he... How many Super Bowls did he win? More than
Tom
any other
Brady's
quarterback
Eddie Guerrero.
will.
That's all there is to it. Cheat to win. If you ain't cheating, you ain't winning. That's Tom Brady's philosophy. He was an Eddie Guerrero fan.
And he only got suspended like 3 games. I mean, who really lost there? Because the year that he came back...
Viva la raza!
I mean... but sports conspiracies, I could see that just being a podcast of its own. That would be so fun. Movie conspiracies.
I'd be curious to hear some of the fun stories out of sports that are wild.
Yeah. Like players, I could see players being the biggest sports conspiracy theories or theorists. Conspiracy
So not
theorists.
a conspiracy theory, but it is a favorite topic, a favorite story of mine to talk about is Bobby Bonilla Day. I think that's the coolest thing ever. And to me, it's one of the coolest, it's a great part of baseball history, in my opinion. Not a conspiracy, obviously, but
no, because he's obviously getting paid.
Contract negotiation. And the fact that it rolls around every year, we all get to be like, Happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
And no other sport has anything like that or has anything that's happened like that.
No, God no. Could you imagine if NFL teams were still paying players from I'm pretty sure one of the teams is still paying Ken Griffey Jr. Let me double check that. I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Yeah, it's the I think it's the oh crap. Is it it's not the White Sox. It's
Reds. The
Reds?
Reds.
Okay.
He retired in 2010.
And that's only
Ken
13
Griffey
years
Jr.,
ago.
the kid is still making $3.5 million.
Because of a contract they signed. I mean,
$82
all
million.
they did was
oh man. That's so funny. That's their budget.
And now, if he passes away, does his
he signed a 9-year, $112.5 million deal, and it deferred payments
Patrick Mahomes
from 2009 to 2024.
Do you think Patrick Mahomes would be another Patrick Mahomes Day type thing? I mean,
dude, if Patrick could secure a deal like that, that would be so amazing. I would love to be paying Patrick. Well, maybe not because of the salary cap.
Baseball is able to do it because the salary cap is not there.
The salary cap is the issue.
I wonder if there's any other. Now, does hockey have a salary cap? I'm not sure. I never really Googled it.
Sure.
But other sports are you don't hear much money being traded between player and I guess organization because of them not being as popular. Now, basketball, that might be another story, but they have a salary cap, but that salary cap is almost unreachable with the way that they've been paying their players. Sure. It's pretty crazy. And they can sponsor.
I got to pause for a sec. I need to go to the bathroom.
So enough of conspiracy theories. Even though we love them and we enjoy, I guess, appreciating possibilities is really a short way of putting it. Let's talk about the NFL kickoff being 14 days out.
Oh my, I'm so excited.
And it's your Chiefs. Chiefs square off with the Lions, I do believe, at week 1.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game.
That could be I think it's going to be tougher than a lot of people think because the Detroit Lions are for sure a, I guess, franchise that is looked down upon for being bad at protecting their quarterback, bad at drafting players.
Yeah, they don't have a great track record, but man, this team is good. They are good.
Dan Campbell has brought the lightning, I think. I think he's not only brought excitement to the organization, but then as an organization, they too have brought excitement by making trades that they don't normally make. They're stirring up the pot and they're putting themselves on the map where they should be.
They have a pretty stout defense, and I think they're gonna put some pressure on us early that we're gonna have to account for and adjust for. I think
they're going to really test out your offense.
Yep.
They're going to test the offense, and another thing is that, I mean, the Chiefs defense isn't always known for being the greatest defense ever, but they've known for being, like in postseason, they're known for being consistent. Like they
Yep.
consistently make stops when stops need to be made. But that's what's gonna. I think that's what it's gonna come down to. Is it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a high played defensive game
Yeah.
because offenses they struggle at the very beginning with weird calls like offsides. They struggle with.
I could see there being
bad,
a lot of sacks and a lot of turnovers in this game.
Oh yeah, like I think people are counting the, not to throw any shade towards the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, but I think people are counting out the Detroit Lions too soon.
For
But
sure,
I do,
yeah.
I mean, the Chiefs are, I think they're the only team in the NFL, and this was a while back when I read it. They were the only team in the NFL expected to win every single game. They're the only team favored to win every game.
That's crazy.
So I think that right there is, for a season setting, like that right there is kind of like something held over their heads. It's like, man, do we really? I mean, that could be pressure in itself, whether or not it is pressure, but like it seems like pressure for fans for sure. Like fans feel like they have to, like that's the thing about football. Football fans fight for their team, and that's what they're
Yeah.
known for. They fight for their team on and off the field. Like they'll go to a game and fight somebody for talking shit on Patrick Mahomes.
They
So
will do
I'm
that.
excited to see this game. Yeah, I've seen it happen. Front row even.
I'm excited to see it too.
I think this is one of the most anticipated seasons just because of there's so many possibilities in the NFL usually, but like in the early 2000s, we always knew the Patriots were always going to be the head honcho. But like I think divisions are so much more balanced now. Like when it comes to like teams within those divisions,
See, you
there's
mentioned the
not always
Patriots.
just one team.
You mentioned the Patriots, and with the stat that you said about the Chiefs favored to win, that's what I worry about, man. Like, do you remember just the pressure? Like, in fact, I can vividly remember, I think that's where I started just being anti Brady, was the year that the Patriots almost went undefeated.
Oh, and lost in the Super Bowl to the Giants.
Yeah. And I'm like, if we're projected, or at least, projected.
I mean, look at their team, though. Their team, they had Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, and Randy Moss, man. Randy Moss and him broke the record for all-time touchdowns thrown. Like, that by itself says that, like, that team was set to be held at a higher standard. I mean, they didn't lose a game all the way up into the Super Bowl. And finally, at one time, the Dolphins fan would have had to shut up. Like, they would have had to if they won. Like, and that, I think their season was much more impressive. One, because they had more games, but also for what they did. They broke so many records that year. It was crazy.
So, seeing as we're talking football, can we talk about your big news?
If that news is Trey Lance to the Cowboys,
It is.
I'm totally fine with it. Like, and this is why. There's nothing to take. Like, quit trying to put a plot to a story that isn't there. Like, Trey Lance wasn't good enough to start at the 49ers. Is he better than Dak? I doubt it. But Dak could have a chance at losing his spot. I 100% agree with that. Like, there's always that possibility. But I don't see it happening just because I think Dak and Jerry Jones are like Tony Romo and Jerry Jones were. Like, Jerry Jones hates to be proven wrong when he is wrong, and that's like his biggest flaw.
If I'm the Cowboys, I can't not make that trade for a 4th-round pick.
No, it's a great trade. Like, he's a great backup quarterback.
Are you kidding me? Yes,
can't,
he's
for a
unproven.
4th
Yes,
round.
he doesn't. The injury is a big deal, but that doesn't mean like you take a flyer, a 4th rounder for Trey Lance. Yeah, that was a good deal.
And he was a first round draft pick.
One.
Cowboys made out on that for sure. Now, the only person that lost in that was their 3rd string quarterback. He got the boot, and he gets to play this whole game coming up. And I think his last name's Greer. I'm not familiar with him, but all that does is to tell you how much. Like, the Cowboys were definitely looking out for the health of Dak Prescott, first of all. First and foremost, he's not known to always be healthy. He gets hurt usually within the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, and then they need a backup. Cooper Rush proved it last year in week 1. Cooper Rush came and showed out to the NFL world with what he can do as a backup quarterback. There's nothing to say that Trey Lance will not succeed, that he can't succeed as a backup quarterback. And I think having the wide receivers the Dallas Cowboys have, I think that's only going to be better for him. It's pretty impressive. Like,
Tell you what,
is he a bad quarterback? I can't say that.
It was not fun watching Deshaun Watson throw to Amari Cooper today.
I mean, last year is when he went, so I mean, like, Amari Cooper was great for when we needed him, but
It's good.
CeeDee Lamb is a more versatile wide receiver. Like,
Sure.
He's bigger, he's faster, he catches the ball better. Amari Cooper he's older, he gets hurt easier, he can't run routes like he used to.
Do you know who you need to watch this year? On the Chiefs.
Do you want me to guess by position? Oh, on the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Your backup quarterback,
Who?
like,
Which one?
The one that starts with a B, your third string.
Oh,
I think he's your
Bouchel?
third string. Bouchel.
Shane?
Like, he is
He's good.
impressive. If he was our backup quarterback over Trey Lance, I think I would still be fine with it.
Yeah.
Because he's so mobile. It's impressive.
Dude,
because I never heard of him.
Even our fourth string, Okladoon, he was showing up, man. He was making some plays. No, but watch Justin Ross, dude, that Clemson receiver that we have that's finally healthy. Yeah. Dude, he made a sick catch.
Was it as impressive as what was that? Oh, it was the Steelers wide receiver, the one-handed catch.
No,
that was
Pickens?
crazy.
No, Pickens' catch was solid. Yeah, no, not quite that good, but Justin Ross caught one for a touchdown today that was pretty good. It's good.
Did they win today?
Yeah. Came back.
So they're 2-1, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I think they've only lost one. Last week they beat who'd they play? The Jets? Or no, they didn't play the Jets. I don't remember who they played. But anyway, I do believe last week they won, because that was a week that you were trying to get the game. And preseason week 1, they didn't win. I think it was a close game, but
lost, yeah.
But and let's talk about the Saints. The Saints have a more than willing quarterback to take somebody to either a postseason or even an NFC championship, given he stays healthy and he has his options open for pass, running, and all that. Like, the Saints are not ever going to be what they used to be with Sean Payton, but I do believe that they have the talent on there. They're kind of like the Cowboys. The Cowboys have had all this talent for so many years, but nothing to show for it. Alvin Kamara I think he's injured, or he got suspended for however many games. Yeah. So that's a hit towards them. But when he's in the game, when it's the Saints versus Tampa Bay, like the past few years that they played, they've broken like the defense hasn't shown up at all, and they've broken like so many passing records. It's crazy. So we'll go to see about that. But Trey Lance, I think I'm 100% behind the deal. We won with that deal with giving just a 4th round pick, because he's worth more than that. And he hasn't shown what he's capable
worth
of yet.
More than 4th round. Sure.
But the only thing that we lost in the whole thing was, I guess, 2 things: a 4th round pick and our 3rd string quarterback, who I don't think I've seen him play. His last name's like Greer.
I mean, you guys won't bump him to the practice squad.
No, he's getting traded to another team. They already said it. Okay. Yeah, they've traded him. But one of the other rumors that I read about, and I did actually click on this one, and it comes out that it is true, that Mariota's probably getting cut.
Really?
Yeah, like that's like the big headline in Eagles news. Like, it doesn't surprise me, especially after watching what happened last year in that quarterback doc or miniseries or whatever it is. Yeah. Like, I think we'll probably be seeing him behind a desk on Monday Night Football or something like that before too long. Because
that'd be interesting.
I don't think that being a journeyman isn't his goal in life at all, because he showed that being at where was he at? The Raiders that year with Who was that? Yeah, he was at the Raiders.
Yep.
Like, he didn't want to be backup. Like, that's not his plan in life. But unfortunately, I think his life plans need to change according to what's given to him because he didn't show enough at Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't know that
I
he
mean,
has the caliber to be a starter.
Now, if he was
There's many
drafted number
teams
one
that would-
overall, like the year that he got drafted, like if he was taken to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, would things have changed for him? Would that have been a different fit? I mean, he went to a
think
bad
so.
team to begin with. He went to a bad team to
I
begin
think
with.
so, and I think that's why drafts matter so much, man. Where you go.
Oh, they do.
I also think it's why you see guys like Eli refuse to go to a team because they recognize that it will kill their career.
Yeah. I
So-
mean, and the decisions that a quarterback makes is obviously planned out to a T. Tom Brady did it. Eli Manning did it. I mean, how many? Joe Montana did it. Like, granted, he didn't necessarily have the greatest outcome after being traded, but he still took the Chiefs to their last playoff win, wasn't it?
Joe's
Before
funny
just
to
recent.
me because Joe consistently says he should have came back. Joe consistently says
who
he should
knows?
have came back because he could have taken the Chiefs to a Super Bowl, and he's right.
I mean, he went to the wasn't it like the divisional championship? Or
Yeah,
no, it was the
we got
game
all the way
before
to
that.
we got all the way to the AFC Championship and lost.
Oh, in '92.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean that was the
1,
last
2,
time
or
that you guys were in the
93, yeah.
playoffs before recent.
Yep.
I mean that's Joe Montana was one of those. I mean, so many quarterbacks have their decision has panned out for them in such a way to where like they've succeeded with their decision. So Tom Brady, example number one, he won a Super Bowl his first year back. That right there speaks. I mean, it speaks more than words right there. I mean, Peyton Manning, second year, went to 2 Super Bowls in a row. Crazy. But I'm excited for this NFL season. And then the other thing that I'm also excited about is that I think that our division is getting a little bit harder with the Giants making defensive moves. Like they got the Cardinals linebacker. Like that dude. Okay. Not many people have any faith in the Cardinals, nor do I. But that defense has always been there. And that's one of their, I guess, foundations for what they've done. Like they had Honey Badger there before they traded him to the Chiefs, wasn't it? Wasn't he there?
Yep.
Like that
No.
defense has always been good. I thought he
He
was
was
at the
with the
Cardinals, went to
Texans.
the Chiefs. He's with the he went from the Cardinals to the Texans, or was he ever at the Cardinals?
I don't think he was.
I
With
thought
the
he was
Cardinals.
drafted by the Cardinals. Okay, I could be wrong.
Maybe he was. I don't know.
I mean, they've had like their cornerbacks. Like I think one of the corners that they had is now at Miami. Like just that defense is getting pulled apart one by one, like a Jurassic Park movie. It's crazy.
Because they had Patrick Peterson. They had a lot of big names.
And this linebacker is just going to make our division with the Cowboys. And I mean, there's nothing bad about the NFC East whatsoever, except for that the Redskins have a bad rep. But I think that your offensive coordinator is going to just add to the difficulty of us beating them every year. Like that is, they're not a bad team. They just haven't been led in the right way, I think. And it just makes like this year is going to be one of the most difficult years that we've seen in football. Like with the AFC East, that's going to be a crazy division. We've already established that.
All right. What are my odds that the Chiefs make the AFC Championship for a 8th straight time?
Your 8th straight AFC
Yeah.
Championship? Are you sure
Yes,
about that?
sir.
8 straight AFC Championships?
Pretty sure. Let me double check that.
I don't think
But
so. I don't think so.
We've hosted it for 5.
Yeah,
Maybe
you've
it's
been to
not 8
5
straight.
straight.
Maybe it's 7 in the last 8. Hang on.
Oh, well, I know that you guys went with Patrick Mahomes 5 of those 7, if it is 7. But what were the other 2? I only know of one that what's his face was at, and that was his. I don't know. I mean, they've been to 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. Won 2 of them. I just didn't think I didn't think that they went to an AFC Championship the year before Mahomes took over.
Yes, they did.
Really?
We did.
Against
We
who?
went with Alex and lost to the
Yeah.
Colts.
in the AFC Championship? How did the Colts
Maybe
didn't
not.
go to the Super Bowl?
No, that wasn't the AFC Championship. That was the
division game or the
division
that was
game.
the yeah.
What the heck?
Alex Smith hasn't played an AFC Championship. Patrick Mahomes has been in every AFC Championship for the Chiefs.
Maybe no. Oh no, I said. What am I saying? Why did I say AFC Championships? No, those are our division championships.
Playoffs, you mean?
We have 7 straight division
okay.
championships against the AFC West.
Now, yeah, that is more believable.
We do have 5 straight AFC championship appearances.
Yes, and lost 3 of those. Wait, 5 straight?
5 straight.
Patrick Mahomes was in all 5 of those?
We've lost 2 of those.
One last year and the year that they lost to the Patriots to go to the Super Bowl. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. The percentage that you have that they will make it, that they will win their division for 8 straight years, is that the statistic you want me to judge?
Yeah. What are the odds?
They're pretty good because all the teams in that division are still, I mean, they're fairly new to either their coaching staff or to the team. Okay. So the only thing that you have going against you is the seniority that they have on the Chargers and the coaching staff that they have at the Denver Broncos. That's the only thing I see being your difficult, I guess, roadblock to a division championship is, one, the Chargers for the seniority that they have and the IQ on their team, and then the Denver Broncos. I think that quarterback. I think that the Sean Payton is gonna, I think, bring the real Russell Wilson back to surface.
Think so? I hope so.
I think he does. I mean, I've got faith in Sean Payton. I think we all deserve 100%.
To see another year of Russ.
And who knows? Maybe I like when John Gruden was the last season that he was with the Raiders, like they were, I think, number 2 in the division, right?
Yep.
When they had they had the fastest wide receiver in all of the NFL at that time. Granted, he made bad mistakes, but John Gruden, like that right there goes to show you how much a coach impacts a team. Like, when they switched, that whole team went downhill so bad. He got fired. His best wide receiver got in a legal mess and now going to prison for 3 to 5 years. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I think you guys have at least I would say, I'm going to just shoot a number out and I'll let you say if it's higher or lower. And I'm going to go 80% chance of winning an AFC championship.
I like it.
So 10% for the Chargers, 10% for the Denver Broncos.
I think it's a little higher. I think it's 85.
85? So who has the higher hand? Do you think it's the Denver Broncos or the Chargers? Yeah.
I think Chargers have a 10%, Broncos have a 5%, Raiders don't have a shot.
Will it surprise you if the Raiders end up having a winning season? Like, will that surprise you? Or will that...
Garoppolo is able to take that team and lead them to a winning season, I will be surprised. And it's not a shot at Garoppolo. That is a patchwork team. There's no way it's putting together any sort of real competitive effort. It's not a real team.
And it's sad because that division at one time was the division to watch in the AFC every year. Yeah, it was always 50-50 with, I think you guys will split at least one series game, and that will be against.
I believe early 2000s there wasn't a better set of rivalries to watch than the
because
AFC
it was
West
always
games.
There was a 50-50 chance of who was going to win. Like if the Chiefs went to the Raiders, and it was always down to a field goal.
The worst team in the league at the time or the best team in the league at the time, if it was a division game, you knew it was going to be a fight.
And the Patriots at that time had a weak division, so it always looked like they were so much better. And like,
we had to watch them beat up on Miami twice a year.
And the Bills were horrible. Ugh. I mean, now that is the new AFC West. That is the AFC West of 2003.
Yeah, you're right. It's the most competitive league in the AFC, probably, or competitive division in the AFC.
I would say the most competitive league in the NFL.
Yeah, probably.
Right now, like the quarterbacks by themselves. Granted, Tua has. And that's funny because
the Patriots are the lowest in that division.
Yeah, but they're adding to that team too. And they're adding to that team too every day.
I mean, that, and I'm not saying, but I don't see the Patriots making the playoffs this year.
if there was going to be a division that every
Maybe the
single
wild
team in
card.
that division, if every team was going to make the the playoffs in a
Playoffs,
division,
you
it would
could
be
see it
that
being
it would
that
be
one.
that division. Yeah,
I
100%.
think there's too good of talent in the AFC for that to happen.
Yeah, but like we said, AFC West, if every team does what they did last year, the only team that they have to be better than is the Chargers.
It's true. But
And then
you've
the
also
other
got the North and the South, too.
But the bad thing about the North or the South is that they have so many rookies. So you don't know what's going to happen there. There's so many rookies in that division. You got two like starting rookies. I don't see the NFC winning I guess okay. I don't want to say they're not going to win the Super Bowl. I'm just saying there's not a team better than any AFC team in the NFC. I will say that.
I agree with that.
But if it was going to come down to a Super Bowl or anything like that, that's when the any given Sunday effect is what we could call it is going to really kick in. I think the Sunday football, any given Sunday is like where that matters the most is when the
When you're on
talent
the
pool
field under the
is
lights, rankings don't matter. At
not
that
at
point,
all
it's who wants it more.
100%. But what about have you heard anything else in the NFL? Like I try not to click on like we said clickbait. Like there's just too much,
Yeah,
and
I
you don't
mean,
know
there's
whether or not it's true.
rumors. There's drama with Chris Jones right now, so there's all sorts of stupid rumors. Like one I saw that was just ridiculous was this notion that somehow we're going to trade Chris Jones to like Tennessee for DeAndre Hopkins and some draft picks. No,
To Tennessee. Oh, yeah.
yeah, I don't think Chris Jones will sit out. I think he'll be there for week one. I unfortunately am starting to believe that we won't have Chris Jones next year, though.
Especially when it comes down to the money thing, because the money thing is what really hinders NFL teams from keeping teams from,
Well,
I
and
guess,
if
spreading out.
you're
Like,
going to make me pick between Chris Jones, who's trying to secure his last big contract, versus Nick Bolton, Creed Humphrey, those are the young guys that we have to come and sign after this deal with Chris Jones. And Creed Humphrey is the best, if not second best, center in the NFL. I would argue the best because he beat Jason. But, you know.
no, they didn't ever
We've
go
got
up
to lock
against
up
each other.
I know. But we've got to lock up a contract with him. We got to lock up a contract with our defensive captain, Nick Bolton. So to me, what's critical about building a dynasty is that you have team-friendly contracts. That you have contracts that are not trying to get you the most money, but rather trying to create income for you, stability for you, while also creating enough cap space to get other good players. Chris Jones wants number one money, and Brett Veach won't pay it.
And
He would pay number two and
their
number
hands
three.
are tied. Their hands are tied when it comes to like you said, creating a
It's
team-friendly.
philosophy. And if Chris isn't willing to come down from that, I think Veach will trade him.
And how many other defensive players such as Chris Jones could you find, whether it be in a draft or a seasoned player? I'm saying how
Don't
many
shortchange who
name the
Chris
top
Jones is,
no
Joe.
name the top three defensive inside linemen such as Chris Jones.
Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, Aiden Hutchinson.
What about Dominican Sue?
No.
Dominican Sue is a monster.
Not
crazy?
anymore.
He still is.
No.
Yeah.
Look at
When
the
he was
stats.
when he
Bro, look at the stats. I just gave you the top three.
Yeah. I'm not arguing with you, but I'm saying like you have so many possible. Now, are they going to do what Chris Jones has done? Chris Jones showed up in the postseason 100%. Now, in the regular season, he had a downfall.
This year,
I'm saying
man,
like
this was his first postseason
with a sack.
Yeah.
But I'm saying this year is where he I wonder if that's his, I guess, reasoning behind why he wants more money because he did that in the postseason. I'm not denying Chris Jones.
Be like, hey man, we've been to the playoffs a lot, and this is your first
and the
sack?
defense has shown up.
Yeah.
The only time they didn't show up was, and it's not that they didn't show up. The offense didn't show up where the defense was tired, and that was against Tampa Bay.
Yep.
That was it. But who knows? Like Chris Jones, I mean, he could have a change in heart. Maybe the leaders on that team will. I mean, I wonder if that type of conversation ever comes up, like in the locker room, like with the leaders and people such as Chris Jones. Like, if that conversation happens in a locker room, like that goes to show you how much leadership skills are on a specific team, especially when you get or when it's open enough to have that conversation about money.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
it's a tough thing, man, and it's never easy. It's hard to explain to people that aren't in the world, and so they get frustrated with why is our player quitting on us, and it's like it's more than that. It's a contract negotiation. This is unions. This is laborers versus employers. I mean, this is the same stuff
Right.
that Teamsters deal with.
right.
So you just have to give grace, and you have to let people do what they do.
But even if that happens, I still think the Chiefs are going to make for an exciting season on like
For sure.
with or without Chris Jones. But
For sure.
But hey,
I just would love to have him with us.
Oh yeah, I mean, as any Chiefs fan would. So that's the only thing that you, as a Chiefs fan, can hope for is like you have the teams that have brought you the championships.
Absolutely.
But college football started today. Did you watch the Notre Dame? The USC game starts today, but the Notre Dame game in Dublin kicked off against Navy, and that was a blowout.
Yeah.
38-3. But the quarterback tied the all-time passing touchdown record for the school this week,
Dang.
and then their running back depth is like 3 deep, and like all 3 of them I think had like close to over 100 yards. It was insane. Granted, they're playing Navy, but it's a rival game. I guess if you look at it through the eyes of a Notre Dame, but like
Interesting.
it was in Dublin, that's why it was so big. But then the USC game kicks off today against San Jose State, I think. So this is week 1 of college, I guess you could say, for 2 games, and then next week the rest of the season kicks off. And I'm excited mainly for the rival games. That's really all I watch, to be honest. I mean, I do catch up on Notre Dame, but other than that, it's just the rival games and the top 25. That's about it. Bama's going to win the national championship. I'm going to say it now. They're the New England Patriots of college.
You ain't wrong. Nick Saban's the name.
Why don't we move on to entertainment, man? Guess what I started watching? Just because you and Jordan were talking, I decided to hit play on this specific show. And it wasn't the fact that you guys were talking high on it. You just said, wow, I'm surprised you haven't seen it. And I will say this to kind of premise like where I'm going to get behind. I think that if I would have watched it when it came out, and if I also would have watched it before Ted Lasso, I would have probably appreciated it more. Can I go off of what I'm saying? Like what show do you think it might be?
I have no idea now. What were we encouraging you to watch? Or at least surprised that you hadn't watched it yet.
Well, it was one of those. I've never seen that. Never. It's a sports show.
Oh, sports? Oh, Mighty Ducks? No,
dude, I've seen that movie. This is a show.
No, there's a show.
Netflix.
Mighty Ducks Game Changers.
Real?
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
There's 2 seasons of it.
We were talking about a hairstyle for Jordan, and you pointed out that he would love to have a hairstyle of one of the characters in the show Friday Night Lights.
Oh yeah.
I started watching Friday Night Lights. It's not bad.
That's
I'm
right.
not
you said
saying.
You hadn't watched.
I just started. I'm on season 2. I'm halfway through season 2. I'm not saying that it's bad. It's a good show. It's a good for what it was back then.
I'm not a fan.
It's good. It's good for what it was. Like
no.
It's cheesy.
It's not enough football. It's too much teenage drama.
Right.
I got bored with it. I stopped watching it.
As would I, but I appreciate.
I like the acting, but the show's so much more drama than it is football that I was like, ugh.
Yeah, I really enjoy the head football coach. I like him as an
Yeah.
actor and also what he portrays as a coach. But I also like the guy that you said Jordan would want his hair like, because I don't know if you've ever seen this or not. Did you ever watch the Waco miniseries that they had on TV?
Mm-mm.
It was on Amazon, or it was on Netflix, and then it moved to Amazon Prime. I highly suggest watching it. It's another one of those weird conspiracies like we were talking about. But the guy that plays Riggins in the show is also the guy that plays the Waco what's his name?
Oh, he plays
Plays
David
David
Koresh.
David Koresh, yeah.
Okay.
And he plays him to a T. Sounds exactly like he does in Friday Night Lights. Got that Southern accent, but like,
yeah, Taylor Kitsch is cool, man. Like Jordan's liked him for a while.
and I've never heard of him up until I saw Waco, and then I was like, man, he looks very familiar. And then I IMDb'd him, and it was the guy from Waco, and I really enjoyed the Waco thing because you really can't I guess grasp like how much was done wrong during that whole Waco thing, and like
Dude,
it really kind of shows how much we
shows
failed as
two
a society.
things. One, it shows how screwed up people can get. Two, it shows how ridiculously willing the government is to overreach.
And nobody was willing
Both
to take
sides
fault.
screwed that thing up. Both sides.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not giving one person right versus wrong, but I am saying that obviously the government messed up, and you know that from the get. Like, you knew that from reading about it, and you still to this day cannot get one person that was during that
You
whole
can't look
thing
at Waco or
admit
Ruby Ridge and not say the government screwed up.
100%. Like they dropped the ball with every possibility. Like anything that could go wrong went wrong in both of those scenarios.
Yep.
Everything. And it's sad. I think the biggest flaw from that, the sadness behind like who died in this mini series really portrays like it benefits the other side, of course. Like it doesn't play like one side or the other. It really shows like how bad the government messed up. And it wasn't even just the government. It was calls that were made on two parts of the government, the ATF and the FBI. So you had different branches of our government that messed up. And that's even worse, I think. I think that just shows that our government's just as weak as any government in the world. And I didn't know so many specifics that actually led up to the whole thing. Like Waco wouldn't have happened if Ruby Ridge wouldn't have happened.
Right.
And that's what's crazy. And if Waco wouldn't have happened, Oklahoma City wouldn't have happened.
Right. Exactly.
And that's kind of where I feel like the faith in your government, you just lose even that much more faith in your government. And whether Timothy McVeigh was as psycho as they claim him to be, yes, to say that you would go and do this, like that right there tells you that you're psycho. Whether or not you were trying to prove right from wrong or good from bad, evil from like they all thought that it was religion based, and like that right there, like everything that happened, like you don't see anything like that being taught in religion. Like it's like being a suicide bomber. That's all it was. Like it was our version of being a suicide bomber, just blowing up a nation. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I did appreciate those, so I highly recommend watching Waco and then also watching Waco Aftermath. They were both pretty good miniseries.
Okay.
But I did start watching Friday Night Lights only because like you were kind of surprised that I didn't watch it. I knew that it was on the air, but the movie is way better.
I was going to say, the movie was amazing. And I think for me, it just kind of logically followed that because you guys loved the movie so much, I think I just assumed that you had watched the show. Because, my gosh.
And I'm surprised I didn't. I mean, it came out the same year that we won our senior year state football championship. I always want to
call you Booby Miles.
Me?
Yeah.
Even though I loved working out at the time. And I didn't have God-given talent. I'm just saying. I mean, I had to work my ass off.
Oh, that's funny.
But hey, like that's the thing that I like about the streaming services is that they have so many possible like things that you might like. Kind of like if I didn't know about Ted Lasso from you guys, I would have probably never watched it.
Right.
And
But
that's
now
also
with
because
you,
it's on.
Yeah, you get to recommend and show people their stuff and everything. Yeah, it's
And
cool.
that's why I kind of felt like if I would have watched Friday Night Lights during its time, I would have probably liked it more.
Well,
But Ted Lasso, I think, is like it holds every other sports series show to a standard, and you can't beat it.
I agree.
And it's not even about
movie
football.
recommendation I'll throw out there because I watched it this week. Not for you because you would not like this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Hold on, is this Blue Beetle or whatever?
No, we did go see that. It was good too.
Oh, okay.
That's it. I would say that might be. It's in the same vein as the first Shazam as far as quality and how good it was. Like it was a surprising treat, and it's going to be a
I
nice
like
refreshing.
Shazam. I did see that one. I did like him.
That's kind
I
of my
like him
point.
as an
Like,
actor.
He was a nice change up, and his was a freshing take to DC.
It was a breath
So
of
to
fresh
me,
air with adding
That's
humor
what Blue
to something.
Beetle is as well. Is a nice
Who
fresh
plays
take.
Blue Beetle?
I don't know his name. Blue Beetle as a character is Mexican American. So it's very much so culturally like, focuses, teaches a lot of cultural elements, stuff like that, but it's really good. Like it
Well, Ant-Man did that for me. I liked the first
Yeah, sure.
Ant-Man. I didn't. There's one thing that I will probably be the enemy on, and I didn't like. I love Ryan Reynolds. I think he's one of the most talented guys in Hollywood. But I didn't enjoy. It was okay. Deadpool was okay. It wasn't my favorite.
Deadpool? Like OG Deadpool? Or Deadpool 2?
Just either one. I watched both of them. The person that I thought kind of stole the spotlight for humor was the bartender. I thought he was the funniest person in the show or the movie.
That doesn't surprise me that you would go for TJ Miller.
It was okay. I watched it once and I was fine with it. That was it. That's all I needed. But there's people that say that that's the best superhero movie out there.
Did you watch the Christmas one?
The Christmas Deadpool?
Yes.
I don't think it did.
There was a special Christmas edition where it's him and oh, come on, JD. Boy Meets World, what was that kid's name?
Corey?
Yes, Corey's the actor's name.
Oh, the dude from what's his face's brother from Wonder Years.
Okay, yeah. Him from Wonder Years it's him in it. Because remember he's the kid in Princess Bride?
Fred Savage,
thank you, yes. So it's Fred Savage in it as an adult, and Deadpool's reading him the story of Deadpool as if it's the Princess Bride. So it's a recreation of the Princess Bride scene, but with the Deadpool story. And it's funny as all get out, dude.
Joshua.
It's funny.
Come on.
It's funny.
I don't like Princess Bride.
Bobby, it doesn't utilize the Princess Bride, but it recreates the elements of it, and it's hilarious.
I will take your word for it, and I will try it out if I see it on one of the streaming things.
But yes, I know you don't like the Princess Bride because you have no good sense
if I see it in streaming, I will click on it and I will watch however much I have to watch until I get. If I don't get bored, I'll watch all of it.
Okay, sounds good.
But if I do get bored, I will let you know after I watch it.
But if you're looking for a good biopic, I highly recommend First Man. It's about Neil Armstrong.
Man.
Yep, it's about Neil Armstrong.
Who's
Takes
playing
it
Neil?
from his Gemini 8 mission all the way to Apollo 11. And it's just really cool.
Who plays Neil?
Ryan Gosling. Mr. Perfect.
Wow. Isn't that his second space movie where he plays somebody big in space? That's like his.
Who else did
he plays another one. He played what was that other one? He might have played.
Glenn?
I think he might have played Neil. He played somebody
Neil.
And then he played in an older movie. He played in an older movie back in 2012, 13.
Well, First Man's 2018.
Well, then maybe that's the one. I just know it's older. I thought you meant.
It's about 4 years old.
I thought you meant. Okay, I thought you meant you went and saw it in theaters. My bad.
No, I saw it on streaming.
Okay.
It was good though.
If that's the one, then yeah. There is one movie that I'm kind of like intrigued by, and that's the one about the Russian in World War II where he like slaughters all these Russians who try to mess with him. He was panning for gold, like in the movie. It's kind of like Braveheart meets John Wick, is what they say. The makers of John Wick made this movie, and I forgot what it was called. But he's apparently a quiet old man who was a retired like military guy. They steal his dog tags like in the trailer for it, and they're like, "Hey, who is this guy? He killed 8 of our men." And like the guys that they relay back to him, they're like, "Get the hell out of there! That man is crazy. He will kill all of you." Damn. New war movie. It's something weird. New war movie. But I still haven't seen Oppenheimer, and I'm really kind of I'm debating on whether or not I should go
on IMAX, but unfortunately we couldn't make it.
Yeah.
So
but anyway, this movie, it just looks appealing just because it's like, I mean, when you say John Wick for me, like that does it enough just because of like the character, like it just says badass for the character. But if it's I loved the movie, or not Braveheart, my bad. It's The Patriot meets John Wick because like the whole war thing. So that was, I mean, Braveheart, yes, it was war, but it wasn't like
now I want to go back and watch The Patriot, dude.
I love The Patriot. I would say that it's
aim small, miss small.
Aim small, miss small. Steer the course. Like, there's so many quotes you can take from that movie, and
you say steer the course.
It's stay the course. My bad.
Stay the course. Yeah.
Stay the course. But I would say that it's the best revolutionary war based movie out there. Like,
yeah, Revolutionary War for sure.
Like, oh, I mean, he was
John
go
Civil
Wick.
War, I think you got to go Glory.
Glory was good, but for Civil War, I would. There's not many Civil War movies out there, is there? I would say Gettysburg was good with Jeff Daniels.
Gettysburg was good, but Glory is I think
Glory was just like, I mean, the only actor that was big, it was long, but like the biggest name in Glory would be Morgan Freeman, and the dude that played in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, he was in that.
Denzel's in it,
and yeah, because it's about the first Black Regiment of the Civil War. But like I'm saying, like those are the biggest names that like it didn't get the spotlight that it should have. Probably, maybe that's where I'm trying to go with it. Did it go to theaters? I don't think it did. I remember seeing it in school.
Yeah, dude. Glory got an Academy Award and stuff.
Oh well, I just don't remember ever. I don't remember seeing.
Like we were babies when that came out.
Oh really? It's that old?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Broderick's a freaking baby in that.
I mean, it was right after Ferris Bueller, and he was the leader of it, wasn't he? Civil War movie. Gettysburg in 93, Glory, Free State. I never saw that, and that's a Matthew... Lincoln. Okay, take that back. Lincoln. I would watch Lincoln over Gettysburg. I enjoyed it. But I also like Daniel Day-Lewis. The Confederates. I mean, I guess there are a ton of Civil War movies, but none that I would ever be able to tell you that was a Civil War movie because I haven't seen it. But Lincoln, I did see. That was a great movie.
It has no historical accuracy, but I purely enjoyed it for entertainment value.
Daniel Day-Lewis is what I watched that movie for. Not because it was Civil War based, but because Daniel Day-Lewis, in my opinion, is my favorite actor to watch create a character in a movie. Like the way that he goes about, like
his method acting is nuts.
Right, he puts people to shame. Like living as Lincoln months before he films for Lincoln is crazy. And he quit acting to become a cobbler, and now he's back acting.
I could never be that type of actor. I just want to be clear. I would never make it.
I couldn't either. Actor. I mean, Matthew McConaughey's another one of those guys almost dying from like pretty much starving himself to death to play an AIDS patient. Like that's crazy. Another one is the guy that played Batman.
Christian Bale.
What was his name? Christian Bale.
Yeah.
That is insane.
No, Christian Bale's the worst about it, in my opinion. Because he did that and he did George W. where he added all that weight on to play George.
That
right?
wasn't George. He didn't play George W. No, that was
Or
the
not
dude that
George
played.
W. Cheney.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
Cheney.
Yeah, he did
Not
do
George
that.
W.
George
Cheney.
W. was what was his name? Josh Brolin.
Yeah. No, Cheney. He played Cheney,
Cheney.
and put
He
all
did
the
play
weight
Cheney.
on for Cheney. And I was like, dang, dude. Did you
Like,
ever
that's
see The
death right
Machinist,
there.
the one that he dropped all the weight for?
Could not. I mean, I watched the first 15 minutes of it, and like it was also when I was tired. So I mean, that movie for me, I feel like you really have to pay attention to appreciate it.
That
Like-
movie's all about insomnia. So watching it tired will mess with you. That's the whole point.
Not many
And
of
once
Christian
you
Bale
get to
movies
the
have I
end-
watched and enjoyed.
Once you get to the end, it all makes sense. But yeah,
Is it like
you're right.
Inception
It's a
type stuff or no?
slog to get through it.
Is it like Inception? Like, is there
No,
twists
it's
and
not
stuff?
like Inception. At the end, you find out why he is the way he is.
Oh, so it's like, so it's based on a true story.
No, I don't think
Is
so.
it not?
No.
Oh, I didn't
but
know if it was
but
kind of
is a
like,
character story.
I didn't know if it was kind of like the one where Leonardo DiCaprio played the OCD guy that constantly washed his hands. What
No,
character was that? He was a
no.
pilot, aviator, the aviator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Howard Hughes? Yeah, the
Yeah,
Aviator.
Howard Hughes. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. That's one movie that I was kind of like, man, this dude's insane.
But
No, there's so many good movies out there that like actors and movies, but like I don't think that like our day and age, I don't think theaters are going to last another 10 years. I really don't.
you don't think so?
It's gonna be like Blockbuster, man. They're gonna be few and far in between, and if there is a theater, it's gonna be like a national monument that people are gonna go see, and it's gonna be like a Warren or an IMAX, like the Cosmosphere. Like that would be the place that I would want to go to watch a good movie like Interstellar.
Yeah.
Could you imagine watching that on their IMAX? Oh my gosh.
I think IMAXs and drive-ins will have better shot
Yeah.
than just your
drive-ins for
regular
sure.
movie theaters. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blockbuster just kind of missed out on the whole streaming opportunity with Netflix when they came out, and that's why
Dude, it's
there's
so
only
crazy
one around.
that Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix and didn't do
Right.
it.
Yeah, they didn't do it because they didn't want to stream, or no, it wasn't the streaming thing. They didn't want to mail stuff, I think, because that's what they were doing first, weren't they?
Yep. They didn't think
Like,
it was a sustainable business model.
Because if you think about it, Blockbuster didn't close that long ago. Like,
Yeah.
Blockbuster closed, I want to say the last one,
Technically,
like,
Blockbuster hasn't closed. There's still an
Right,
open
they still have the one-
Blockbuster.
yeah, they still have the one. And I mean, it's treated as a national monument in Oregon, I do
Right.
believe. But the nostalgia behind it, like, if you think about it, if somebody wanted to open up a place just called Blockbusters and, like, just let you rent old movies, I still think that that would be a killer business model for somebody to open up an old Blockbuster store.
Yeah.
Just for the nostalgia. Or say it's just video games. But another one I'll miss is Hastings. That was legit. I loved Hastings.
Hastings was cool because it was a media store. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't just movies. You could go buy books there. You could go buy CDs there.
Yeah.
Gaming.
I remember
like,
the CD store in the mall. Like, I loved going to the CD store in the mall.
We had a place in college called Vintage Stock that I really liked because they had a bunch of stuff like that.
We have a place in Hutch now that just opened called Permanent Record. And it's like a record store. They also sell CDs, but they also, like, I think they focus on, like, bringing back vinyl and stuff like that.
Nice.
I haven't checked it out yet.
Vinyl's
I don't
making
have
a
it.
comeback, man.
Yeah, but I don't think it's what it used to be by any means. Like,
No.
vinyl. I've always been a guy that wants to buy the CD. Like, when NF drops a new CD, I always buy two, one that's signed, one that's not. But that's because I love the physical factor of, hey, I've got this. So like that signed CD, I could post up behind me and post it up on my wall. And it's part of art. And that's what vinyl's gone to, is art.
Vinyl. The thing about vinyl though is it's a different sound.
Oh, for sure. It's not your pre or your edited CDs or your radio edits. It's
Right.
raw
And
music.
so
That's what it is.
because of that, there's an element to vinyl that makes it kind of classic.
Oh, yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Like
Classic in the sense of it can't die.
Right. And vinyl for me, like whenever I listen to it, it's not that it sounds bad. I think that vinyl it should set a tone for like what you're doing. Like so if you're
Yeah.
just hanging out and like just enjoying music, that's where vinyl is appreciated more in those settings. But if you're just wanting to listen to music and jam out, I don't think vinyl's like you can't get music high enough on a record to sound good enough. It's going to sound distorted if it's too loud. But
Yeah,
I
certainly.
do
I mean,
appreciate a couple records.
if you're trying to create like a concert in your house, you don't want vinyl. But if you're
For sure.
just listening and jamming out, yeah, vinyl's the way to go. So.
I mean, radio is dying, but like I still appreciate radio shows. So, but hey, man, we've been going a while.
We have,
but we still have a little break in between. But it was still fun, and I'm glad we knock out all those things before. That way, we have time to appreciate, and then we don't have to like make time for it. So,
absolutely.
But I love you.
I love you too.
And we will plan for next episode.
Absolutely.
I love you.
Love you too. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.